elementary school. Maybe yeah.
Aloha, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. So if you'd like to take your seats. So welcome to the,
Yeah, they do.
can you hear me okay, Angie? Yep.
Starting.
Hi.
You got this.
Okay, so I've called the meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock on December 12th, 2024 for the Diamond Head Kapahulu St. Louis Heights Neighborhood Board meeting. I'd like to start us off by reminding people to please mute your devices if you are not speaking. We've got a very full agenda tonight, so please be as succinct as possible when you are testifying, if you are testifying, to allow people to have their say. We do have a very full agenda. With that, I would like to welcome our Honolulu Fire Department Waikiki Station. If you are here, sir. And seeing they are not here, we will come back if they do come. And our Honolulu Police Department, District 6, Waikiki Kapahulu, I'm sorry, Waikiki Kapiolani Park Diamond Head. And not seeing them, let's move on to District 7, Diamond Head Kapahulu, St. Louis Heights, East Honolulu. I see Lieutenant Nishimura there. Yep, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Good evening. Lieutenant Nishimura from HPD District 7, East Honolulu. The following are the statistics for the month of November. Motor vehicle theft, 15, burglary, 5, theft, 21, UEMV, 16, with total calls for service, 5,889. Our safety tip for the month is holiday safety tips. First of all, for safety at home, please remember to lock all your doors and windows, secure your residences. Don't display gifts that can be seen from the exterior of the home, for example, through windows. And write down and keep track of any serial numbers of expensive items such as, electronics, television, or bicycles, things of that nature. For safety while you're shopping is make sure you lock your car and secure your car when you leave. Avoid carrying large amounts of cash. Be careful when you're carrying your purses and wallets to avoid pickpockets or purse snatchings, and be aware of your surroundings. And also, please be aware that when you place gifts in your car to continue shopping, that someone might be watching. So please be careful of that. And lastly, online shopping, just make sure when you're doing your online shopping that you are at legitimate, verified websites and businesses to avoid any type of scams. And please do your homework when you're looking into those online shopping businesses. But that's our report for the month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Lieutenant Nishimura for District 7?
This is Julia. I would like to speak, please.
Yep.
The St. Louis Heights Community Association has been concerned with a lot of illegal parking at the bus stops. And some of where the St. Louis has all the curved streets and people go and park there. It makes it really impossible, for the buses to go through. And so we would like, we would like to have that checked more often. We also are continue to be concerned about the homeless underneath the bridge there, Wiley and St. Louis Drive. We still have problems with them. And we also would like to thank the police for responding very quickly when we've had problems with dumpsters on the street where there's construction. And then we've had very quick response, and really like to thank the police department for that. Thank you.
Okay, I'll note all of those things on, and we can follow up with that. But on the issue of the bus stops, is that mostly just in the St. Louis Heights area, or do you have a specific street or location?
Oh, it's on St. Louis Drive. It's mostly on St. Louis Drive.
Okay, got it. We'll note that down. Thank you.
Okay, yes, I see that. Thank you. And Laura, you've got a question?
Yes, very quick. The other board, I mentioned to you, Lieutenant, that three different police officers from District 7 told me that I guess the Waikiki police officers had been urging the unhoused population to be pushed over the canal, and this would mean both Mauka side and also more Diamond Head side. So I'm hoping there's something that's adjusting that, because I don't think we need to be the recipient of pushes that are pushing into our other residential communities. Second of all, I just found out just the other day that under the Kapiolani Bridge, and that's one that both our districts share, there is as you well know, there's an unhoused population that's under the bridge there. But what they have now, and I hope you can take them out, is they have stairways and they have a hoist to raise and lower, I guess, shopping carts or whatever they do there. There's two things that are making it more homey for them down there. And I think that those two things suggest danger, especially in heavy rains and things like that. So I would hope that you would be able to have them taken care of. And I think Anton Krucky is on the this chat also, so I hope he will make an address to it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Laura. And you, just to clarify, you said the Kapiolani Bridge?
Yeah, that's the one that's basically goes right across from Kaimuki High School. That's a biggie bridge homeless population there. So it's shared by both of our districts. It's right there.
Oh, all the way by Market City. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, we'll pass out that information and we'll look into it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I see, thank you. Are there other questions for Lieutenant Nishimura? I did have one, Lieutenant Nishimura. We had, as usual, of course, fireworks are coming up for New Year's. How is what's the forecast for illegal fireworks this year? Horrible, super horrible, or extra super horrible from the police department perspective?
I haven't had any updates for this year, but if it's like last year, I mean, I would imagine it would be similar from year to year. So you could expect probably something like last year, and a response will probably be the same. We'll do the best that we can. If there's any infractions or violations that you observe, then please call us and we'll send an officer over and we'll do the best we can to address it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's probably more of a you all can't do anything really. I mean, with given the widespread, celebrations, more the fire department, I suppose, has issues. Well, thank you very much, sir, for coming, and have a happy holiday season. And we will move back then to
Thank you.
Lieutenant Ono. Thank you, from District 6 for Waikiki, Kapilani Park, Diamond Head.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Ono from District 6. Just a FYI, we don't border that Kapiolani Bridge. I think that's strictly D7 if I'm not mistaken, but that's not a part of our district. And I'll talk to my guys also. I don't know who's pushing people over into the District 7 area, the homeless, but I'll make sure talk to some of our people, make sure that's not happening. Just for stats for District 6, robberies, we had 7 this month, previous month was 12. Burglary 7, previous month 8. Thefts 179, previous month 190. UEMVs 29, previous month 13. Assaults 35, previous month 57. Sex crimes 5, previous month 3. Bikes, skateboards on sidewalks 17. Citations, and previous one was 3. Speeding, we had 7 citations, previous one was 41. Parking citations 2,112, previous month 1,526. Loud muffler and prohibited noise, we had 1 citation, previous month was 1 citation. And for the park closures, we had 92 citations, 11 arrests, and previous one was 90 citations and 11 arrests. Total calls for service was 3,144. Previous month was 4,649.
Wow.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, Lieutenant Ono. Are there questions for Lieutenant Ono in person or online? I did have a question. Someone asked me if, especially with loud mufflers that are designed, add-ons after the manufacturer, sells the vehicle. Uh, how are those cited? If you pull over somebody for speeding, for example, or for a parking violation, would you also give a ticket for a loud muffler at that time?
A parking citation, probably not, but it's up to the officer. It's all discretionary. So, I mean, if they pull them over for speeding, and the muffler is loud, we can cite for that.
Okay,
But it's up
thank
to
you.
the individual officer.
Okay, thank you very much for coming tonight, and have a safe holidays.
Same to you. Thank you.
Okay, and moving on, we do have an open board seat for Diamond Head Sub-District 3. Is there anyone in person there, Curtis, or online that's interested in filling that?
None in person and nobody contacted me prior to the meeting.
Thank you, Curtis. And I know that Vice Chair Velasco said that she will maybe beam in. We may not have a quorum to even consider some of these things. If that's the case, we'll decide that when we get there. We have our public interest announcements. Again, for those of you who wonder why our agenda seems so long, it's because there was a ruling from OIP that says we could only talk about things that are on the agenda, which would, my humble opinion, would unnecessarily stifle us. Other people have different opinions about that, but I have included everything in there that we would normally talk about and have always normally talked about, but just being very explicit about that. So it could follow up with comments, questions, discussion, or recommendations by the board based on anything in the agenda as it comes down, just in case you all are there wondering why it's become so long and you didn't hear that last time. Also, I'd like to invite any of our elected officials to put any newsletters and that sort of thing in the chat. And for folks, if you have a specific thing with a specific elected official, you can put that in the chat. I don't know if Kathleen, you are here tonight. So Kathleen Pahinui is here from the Board of Water Supply. Aloha, Kathleen.
Hi, Chair. How are you? Sorry. Some difficulties here. How is everybody? Happy holidays. I'm pleased to report we did not have any main breaks in your community over the last month. And we just want to remind people during the holiday, scams are really prevalent, especially utility scams. We will never call demanding money from you, and we don't accept payment in Bitcoin, prepaid cards, or third-party payment apps. So be sure to verify the credentials. What we really recommend that you do, if somebody calls you and says they're from the Board of Water Supply and gives you a number or a link, hang up the phone, look us up, Google us, and use that number that you see on your website. And our accepted number is 808-748-5000, and call us directly and then ask for customer care, customer service representative, and ask them if there's any issues with your bill. But we just want to make sure people are safe during the holiday season, and Kapuna, of course, are especially vulnerable to these types of scams. That's all I have to report, other than our projects, our water system projects continue to move along, as does our fencing project. So any questions?
Yes, thank you, Kathleen. Now, Daisy, you have a question or comment?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Hi, Kathleen. I had a question.
Daisy.
According to the city, Deputy Director Michael Keith, when the sewer increase happens, that there will be two separate bills, one from Board of Water and one from the city regarding the sewer. That's kind of unusual because right now we're having as one bill for both. So,
Okay, so there's
yeah.
two things going on, Daisy. Number one, they're looking to increase sewer fees, which I
Right.
believe they probably did a presentation to your board. So they're looking to increase sewer fees. That is currently going through the city council. That probably won't get approved probably until about January, I think is what they're expecting. So that's number one. Number two is, yes, ENV and BWS are in discussions to separate the bill. So you will ultimately get two bills. You'll get one from BWS just for the water, and then you'll get one from E&V for the sewer charges. So that is something that we're currently working on. So it's two separate things, but that separate bill will not happen for a while. That's several years. That's probably a couple of years down the road.
Okay, appreciate the confusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Daisy.
The other questions for Kathleen in person or online? Quick question, Kathleen. We did have the rebate for the low flow toilets. I
Yes,
wonder
sir.
if that's coming back, and also we had a presentation by Hawaii Green Growth about the water barrels. Do you work with them, and could we request water barrels from you if that's something that you all do?
Yes, our toilet rebate has been in effect for about a year and a half. We've been offering $100 for the better part of 2024. That will go back down to $45 starting January 1st. So if you're thinking of remodeling, I recommend you go out and buy a toilet today and you can take advantage of the rebate. Secondly, yes, we do work with Hawaii Green Growth on a number of projects, and yes, we do have rain barrels. We do have primarily the rain barrel giveaways are part of workshops, so we recommend that you check out our Xeriscape website, Friends of Halava Xeriscape, or the Xeriscape section on our website for BWS, BorderWaterSupply.com for more information, or just call me at 808-748-5319.
Okay, and are those free when those giveaways happen?
We generally don't give them away free. What happens is for the workshop, I think it's like a $45 workshop fee, and then you get a barrel as a part of that. Plus, we train you how to set it up and what to do.
Okay, very good.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you for that. And I see we have a question from Margaret.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, Margaret.
I put it in the chat, but I've had a leak of some sort. And the Board of Water Supply came out and it's coming through my property. And they've been investigating it for about a month. We checked it, it's not my water. The last time this happened, it was coming from a break on Bertram Street. That was when Ernie Lau first started. And they checked my water bill to see if it was mine, and it's not. So it seems like it's coming from the street behind. I put in lots of drains, unfortunately. So usually, but it's the easiest route for water to travel. It used to come through all of the garages on St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? It's been over a month.
Okay, could you do me I'll call
Yeah.
customer care and find out. Okay, Margaret?
Yeah, the old guys, when they were saying, thought it was like empty cesspools that had overflowed with the rain or something. It was really funny, but finally they figured out it was a break at the top of Bertram. And so now, because I put in all the drains.
Yeah, I know there's some
It's-
funky plumbing up in St. Louis Heights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, let me go check into that for you and
Okay, I'll put
and
my
have someone
address
get
in the-
back to
I'll
you.
put my address in there. And can
Okay.
you put your phone number in the chat?
Sure can.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, any other questions for Kathleen or Board of Water Supply? Okay, Kathleen, thank you very much, and we wish you a happy holiday season and end of the year.
Same to all of you. Aloha. Bye-bye.
We have Dean Hoshiko from Kapahulu Community College. Aloha, Dean. And your friend.
Aloha. Oh, yes, and my friend Gandalf. Wheelchair Wells and members of the board and friends and neighbors. Tonight, I just have a couple of announcements. I know that there was a concern raised when Kapiolani had its commencement at Diamond Head Theater because people didn't know about it. And apparently when people are out there celebrating, there's a bit of commotion. So I did want to let you know that there is a fall commencement that's going to occur on the 20th of December, celebrating people who are graduating. They're at the commencement. So it will be at the Diamond Head Theater again, and it'll be an evening commencement. And then usually people go out into the parking area, you know, when they're giving lay and everything. So anybody in the community around there, just a heads up that that is going to be occurring. Also want to let you know that on the week of January 6th, we're going to be offering through continuing education another court interpreter training course, which is open to people who are bilingual and might want to get into interpreting in the court. And if you successfully complete that, then you can become a tier 1 interpreter, and it's a good you know, it's a good job opportunity for people who have bilingual skills, and you're trained professionally and certified to do that work. And Good Jobs Hawaii is paying for the tuition, so it isn't going to be a cost if you're qualified through Good Jobs to take that course. And then finally, there are some classes that we are going to be offering again in the spring for community that are under the community interest category. Just go to our website and look under Kapuna Vai. And we'll be doing, I think, a very important class beginning in late March regarding sustainability and resilience. And again, that will be covered by Good Jobs funding. So if you qualify for that, then the tuition would be covered. And that's pretty much it for general announcements from my area tonight.
Okay, thank you. And Daisy, you have a question for Dean Hoshiko?
Yes.
Hi, Carol.
Hi,
Um,
Daisy.
Yeah, the CIP phase 2, it looks great, really great. The roadway going up to the restaurant, etc., and all the fencing, etc. And then I think so far the cafeteria, I mean the restaurant area, the auditorium area looks like it's almost complete. I'm not sure how far along it is, but it looks great. And I
Yeah.
had a question about
yes.
bus 200, which is students, because it goes right behind it stops right behind Diamond Head Theater. It's a new route that the city just implemented from Palolo Valley. And I see very few students get or use that route going to Diamond to KCC from that direction. I see more using from Kapahulu going up Montserrat, etc., or from number 3 than 200. But apparently DTS Director Morton believes that that's a good route because people from Palolo wants to go to Waikiki, and that's the route that they use. But it's kind of dangerous because, you know, when 6th Avenue meets Aloha, that blind curve
Yes.
there is very dangerous. Plus they have that bulb out area. So I don't know how well your students are using that particular route or not, but
Okay, what's the route again?
it's a new one
Daisy?
called Route 200.
Okay.
Yeah, it just goes
Okay.
from around that Kapilani Park, and then goes up through then it goes before KCC. It makes a left turn into Aloha, goes straight down all the way to 6, and then goes left to Kamiki, and then goes up to Palolo Valley, and it comes back. So I
Okay.
don't know. Some of the students I notice use it, but on the whole, very few people use it. So that
Oh,
seems to
okay.
be
You know,
a
I can
waste.
check
Yeah.
with I can check with our student government people to find out, you know, if they know anything about that, or if people have commented about that, or if people
Yes.
are unaware of it. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for bringing
Yeah,
that to my
because
attention.
you know it's very kind of unsafe of the
Yeah.
way the route is, and then it's up behind Diamond Head Theater, so the students have to walk another 2-3 blocks just to get to KCC campus. So it seems to be the city should rethink this route. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Rafia, you have a question or
Yeah,
comment?
just
Go
hi
ahead.
Carol. Good evening.
Hi, Rafia.
Hi. I just quick question. When is the court interpreter course? Is it in the spring?
Yes, if they have to go on to the Good Jobs Hawaii site. If you just look
Okay.
under Good Jobs Hawaii, and you
Uh-huh.
people can apply to see if they're qualified. You know, you just basically have to be a citizen or have a green
Oh,
card.
green card, okay.
Yeah, and then, you know, there's an age requirement, and then
Okay.
yeah, so you just put in the application and they'll process it, and then if you're qualified, then you'll be assisted to register for the court interpreter class, and we're still taking enrollment. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you or anyone else that you know of are
Yeah,
interested in doing that, we're still taking registration.
yeah, yeah, we will be love to join in that. Thank you.
It's very good. That and the community interpreting for health, you know, they're very good opportunities for people to get employment.
Yes, yeah, I love to do that. Thank you very much,
Okay,
Carol.
you're
and Chef.
welcome.
Okay, and are there other questions for Dean Hoshiko in person or online? I was saying, yeah, I agree with Daisy. I saw that dead tree was removed. It looks much better without it. So the interest. So, oh, well, with that, we hope you have a very happy and safe holiday season.
Oh yeah, happy holidays to all of you too, and all of my birds say happy holidays as well.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have on the next item is about the Neighborhood Commission update from Larry Beret, a Neighborhood Commissioner. And Larry, I don't know, I don't see you here, but maybe you're in person. He did say that he was going to be coming tonight, so maybe he was delayed somehow. If so, we can come back to him. We have a couple, let's see, we do not have a present tonight. Blessedly, we will get through without one, and let's go straight on to I'm sorry, our public and community concerns. I jumped ahead. Our public and community concerns events and event announcements open forum. So you got a couple minutes each here if you have a public concern that is not listed elsewhere on the agenda. So please check that agenda, see if something else is going to come up. And just as a caveat to that, I know that we'd invited the DTS again, but they have a bunch of people that are out and couldn't come tonight. It's too short notice for them to come. So we will leave all those items on the agenda. They're not going anywhere. And maybe some of those we can work in that section for Director Crucky, and he can relay some of those concerns or questions that we have. With that, let's go on to the public and community concerns. And Laura?
Yes, thank you, Winston. Laura Ruby. I just want to do a follow-up of thank you very much from the Diamond Head Neighborhood Board last time passing the resolution for a full EIS for the investigation of the site of the proposed bridge over the Alloway Canal. And we now have 4 neighborhood boards. And I wrote, some of you may have received it, I wrote an email that said, we now have an almost complete lay of community neighborhoods. And that means, if you think about it, circling the whole of the Alloway Canal is what we basically have now. But I will go to the Waikiki board next, when they meet next, and hopefully they will understand that they're part of this community also. I wrote it in the sense that we want to all come together. We're a community. We want to work together for the best for all of us people local, as well as the people who are the tourists. And one of the things that is still missing in that EIS, since they really cannot go ahead further until they address all of the land ordinances that have not been satisfied yet. I won't go into those all right now. And we have over 600 petition signers against any bridge, actually. And that should mean for something for people who are thinking also. So please join us in, I guess, early celebration of us coming together for the lay of community neighborhoods. But I think we're doing pretty nicely to bring all the rest of the neighborhood boards together. So, and just one other thing that will Anton Crook, I hope will take note of. Namely, at that meeting, the meetings, 2 days that were held at Allaway School, there were two varying questions, and one was that the Allaway Park is closed at 10 o'clock. That's what we all in the community agree with. And then another representative, these are DTS or Parsons people, said that, oh no, the bridge will be open 24 hours. Well, now you can't have both. Either you're confused and you have two different times, or what they're not saying is, if you can imagine any of your parks anywhere, a long ADA compliant ramp that actually bisects the park, but it would have to bisect the park with fences on either side, going all the way from the canal to the corner of University and Evi. Now that's rather off-putting, and especially when you have a park that's continuous, that would be of concern to people. So those are the things that I just wanted to say, the updating that wasn't satisfied. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. And can you put your contact info in the chat in case people want to get a hold of you about, issues from the community's perspective regarding the bridge?
Right, thank you. And also, we're looking for people who might join us in the prospective environmental court suit or case, I should say. So if you're an individual or if you're a group, we'd really very much like to hear from you. So I'll put my email in the chat now. Thanks, Winston.
Thank you. Are there other public and community concerns or event announcements that are not listed on the agenda specifically later? Okay, not seeing any. Okay, here's someone coming up. If you can give us your name, also for those folks in person. That way it's easier for Curtis and whoever's transcribing and our Secretary Boydell to make sure we get it right. Thank you.
My name is Allison Barr. Sorry, my name is Allison Barr. So I want to make sure I'm talking to the right one, because I know that my concern is with moped parking along Monterey and then on the beach parks. I see that Monterey Beach Park is on the agenda, but I just want to make sure that I also report that any beach parking is in the Beach or vehicular parking, and I think it's really targeted towards mopeds. I have three issues. One is crossing the sidewalk. It's pretty lively with walkers, dog walkers, runners. Second is pulling out onto the busy Head Road in a very narrow section. It has not a designated bike lane, but there are bikes and drivers going in their corner. And then thirdly, my environmental concern, actually I have four concerns. My third one is the environment. If you have vehicular parking within a park close to the beach, there's opportunity for oil and gas to run over our sensitive reefs. And then the last one is by adding parking inside the park, you're actually changing the kind of small neighborhood park feel of the park. So it changes the way people use the park as well as the aesthetics of the park.
Thank you, Allison. Yeah, and we will be getting to this just in a moment on the agenda. So if we want to wait until that for other comments about Makalei Beach Park.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that, because I see Makalei, but I didn't see that Leahi was on the agenda as well. And I want to make sure that my concerns are for both those small parks.
Okay, very good. Yeah, thank you for that clarification. Yeah, so for members of the public and people maybe beaming in the first time, or for our board, just as a reminder, Curtis put in a link to the agenda in the chat. If you don't have it, you can click on that. And there you will find links also to proposed resolution, testimony on certain topics tonight, especially bus 200 route and the Makalei Beach Park issue. You'll find in elected officials reports and all manner of announcements in there. So I encourage you to always visit that before we have our meeting each month. Are there other concerns that are not on the agenda? Okay, then with that, actually, we have a couple resolutions for board action here, and the next one up is a
Mr.
resolution
Chair,
urging.
point of order.
Go ahead.
I believe we would like to respond to the last speaker.
If it's okay, if it's about Leahi, then let's
Just
do
in
that.
just in general, because she did have an opportunity to speak regarding Allison's testimony and parking at Makale Beach Park, which is on the agenda. She did bring up a very important point about Leahi Beach Park, which I believe the board needs to further consider, considering that this has been targeted as a parking area for mopeds as well. So we may want to add an amendment to the forthcoming resolution. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's a good point. And I don't know if we have a quorum now anyway, but can you do a roll call for us, Curtis?
Okay, roll call. Allen,
Here,
Boydell,
Here.
Decker, Hasina,
Yeah,
Khan,
Here.
Knight,
Here.
Matson,
Present.
Murchie,
Here.
St. Dennis, Velasco, Welch,
Here.
Witzel,
Here.
Wong, Bruce Wong, Linda Wong. Chair, you have 9 members present. Quorum has been met.
And can you tell us, Curtis, if we were to vote on this, how many do we need to pass the resolution?
8.
Okay, thank you. So our first item is a resolution urging the Department of Transportation Services and the City and County of Honolulu to address the safety concerns and routing of the newly installed bus route 200. This was put in by request. It is identical to the one that was just passed, I believe, by the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board this week as well. But if
Excuse
you
me,
haven't had a
Chair.
chance, go ahead.
Larry is on the, is ready to give his talk. Our
Um,
speaker, he's here. He's on
okay,
screen.
you are Larry. You're there. Okay. Well, let's see about this one. Yeah, this is going to take, since we're in this, maybe we can come back to that. Would that be okay with you, Larry?
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Yep.
Mr. Vray is an esteemed member of the neighborhood commission committees, and he is on the agenda, and he just logged on, and we should take his comments and input and advice in the order of the agenda. A highly respected member of the commission.
I'm open for that perfectly, and I'm delighted that Larry is here. If you all are amenable to us coming back to this issue of bus 200, because I think it will be a longer discussion, and then we can have Larry go on his way as well. So without any objection, let's go back to the item, which is the Honolulu City Charter Article 14 Neighborhood Board Mission Update. And we have, as Michelle Matz said, Larry Beret, Neighborhood Commissioner, with updates, revisions on the plans for the Neighborhood Board Plan, and his anything you want to tell us about the Neighborhood Commission. So thank you very much, Larry, for being here tonight. So you're on mute. You're not on mute, but we can't hear you, so you might have to switch your mic. Nope. Not yet. While we're waiting, Commissioner Varay is also the chair neighborhood board for Pearl neighborhood.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I apologize here. I don't know why I had the same problem with the commission meeting the other day. But anyway, let me get going here. I'm sorry I came in late. I am under under the weather today. I wanted to be there at your meeting in person so I can meet everybody. But anyway, good evening, Chair Welch and Diamond Head board members. I'm Larry Varay, appointed commissioner for the Neighborhood Commission from our city council. I'm the newest member. It's truly an honor and pleasure to be asked to provide you guys an update on the Neighborhood Commission team. I am also currently chairman of the Pearl City Neighborhood Board, and I've been the chair for the last 8 years, and also been with the board for the last 18 years. So I've got a lot of experience, and I've learned from many, many other people, and I'm always learning as we go along. Now let's talk about the commission. Chair Richard Oshiro, he's our chairman and currently sits with the Waipahu Neighborhood Board, number 22. He's also a former chairman. He gained a lot of experience over the years, and I collaborated between Waipahu and Pearl City all these years. So him and I are good friends, and we work very close together. The commission is comprised of 9 members, and they're all appointed. The mayor, the city council, and the NCO all have their key people that they put into place. Stephen Melendez, Dr. Melendez, he's got experience with the Mililani Mauka Luani Neighborhood Board 35. He's also former chair. Claire Tamamoto, she's well known in the community of Aiea. She's been with the neighborhood board for quite a long time with Aiea. Pat Smith, he's with Punch Bowl. He's currently the chair there. He also brings a lot of his own personal experience. Mayalani Bernard, she's not with any board members, but she does have some really good management experience she's brought to the board. Bill Clark, former Aiea neighborhood board chair, and then James Logan and Jonathan Ching, other contributors. The commission is responsible for establishing policy and providing oversight evaluation for the neighborhood board system. They are responsible for routinely updating the neighborhood plan for its effectiveness in supporting our neighborhood boards. The commission is supported by the Neighborhood Commission Office, Executive Secretary, and staff. And of course, you all have Dylan Witzel on your board team right here, who has a wealth of experience. He also supported me years ago when he was an NCO's staff representative. But I wanted to at least give him some kudos for the support that he's given. What are we doing right now? First, we're monitoring the election process that's being managed by the NCO. Next week, Friday, I hope all of you are ready. December 20th, the candidate voter registration is going to open. So this is your opportunity to provide your photo, your short biography for the public to influence their votes for you. And during this entire process, Commissioner Claire Tamamoto, who's chairman of the election committee, will be monitoring that process. The candidate and voter registration period will close on Friday, February 21st of 2025, and then we'll go through a quiet period, and then the voting begins. During the next period, they'll gear up for Friday, April 25th. It'll open up for the public. They'll be able to go online and start voting, and then it'll close on May 16th. So that's a 3-week period, and hopefully all your constituents out there, all the people that you've been supporting, they've been keeping a track record of all of you. You know, who's the shaker movers, who's the rubber stampers. Those are terms I usually use because usually the new people come on are learning as they go along. But people have been on the boards. They're really good shakers and movers tackling these issues. And I commend your board specifically because I tune in on a lot of times because I want to hear your problems and how you're handling them. And of course, the best way you're doing it is you're talking it out and you're putting in writing for those requirements going to our officials. Our next commission meeting is survey committee meeting is going to be scheduled for Monday the 27th. That's the next thing we're working on. Oh, let's see here. I think I just skipped ahead on my notes. I did. The other action is our neighborhood commission survey. Commissioner Melendez is the chairman of that committee. He started back in August last year, started getting inputs, and throughout this whole period, he's collected all the inputs from all the neighborhood board members that have had ideas that they wanted to bring to the commission to improve the NCO operations and also improve the commission, but most importantly, the neighborhood plan that we all go by. And the next survey committee meeting will be on Thursday, the 23rd at 6 p.m. via WebEx. You're all welcome to tune in there. Some of your board members, usually you in particular, usually tune into these and have some good innovative ideas to bring forward. The other final action is the neighborhood plan. Commissioner Pat Smith, he's the chairman, and he's been doing a really good job really dissecting the neighborhood plan. We started with the commission. We've already made some major changes because, and with me on the board, really influencing that, what's good for the gander is good for the goose. And especially when it comes to attendance, we all need to attend these meetings. We need to be contributors. And, but anyway, that meeting will be called out sometime in January. We're still working on a date. So the last commission meeting, or I should say the next commission meeting, will be on Monday, January 27th at 6 p.m. You're all welcome to come in. Normally we'll go through the agenda, and then lastly we go in executive session and take care of any issues that boards are having. And of course, I don't think we ever get any complaints or anything from your board. Okay, first of all, I want to leave you with just a few comments with my experience. What does it take to have a good, well-balanced and cohesive neighborhood board? You guys are striving for that. I know you do, all of you. The key thing is respect for the chair. Chair Welch is running this meeting. He's the head of the ship. And the thing is, though, when you have issues and stuff, you guys need to work that out and work it with the chair. I mean, if it gets into a conflict where you just can't handle it and you got to put a complaint forward, well, you got to do it. But always keep the chair involved and give the chair the opportunity to fix that. And the other thing is help the chair out. As you're working this agenda like today, I noticed it's got 4 pages long, trying to keep the time as short as possible. Keep your questions concise. You don't have to give big backgrounds, and always go through the chair with those questions. And importantly, being a team player. And what's a team player? Supporting the other board members and helping them address issues. Sometimes it's good to jump onto that issue and add your piece of the action. And importantly, respect and trust. Respecting the comments of other views of other board members. But you know what? It's okay to disagree on issues. It's okay to be honest, but healthy conflict, that's the key thing. Okay. And I know you guys do that. Respecting officials. You want them to come to your meetings. When you embarrass them in public, don't expect them to be coming to your meetings that often. Be respectful. And yes, you're going to have issues, but keep in mind the chair is going to keep you online, because if you do have questions that are out of line, you will usually be called out on it. But do not get argumentative. Key thing, you have a lot of talent on your board. You got a lot of people from different walks of life. That allows for creative, innovative, resourceful thinking, offering ideas, solutions, community problems. You guys are doing good on this. Good communication skills, leading the committees, eloquently describing solutions and the way ahead. Key thing, getting it in writing, issue papers, resolutions, and get there to the testimony before the state legislature and the city council. And good decision-making practices. You guys do that. And most of all, demonstrate pride in your board. You guys have accomplished a lot. You've got a lot of achievements. Brag about it. Okay. And I'm hoping and influence that every year we'll have a formal report from all the neighborhood boards to go back and look back at what they achieved for the entire year. And lastly, if you need training, you got Dylan Witzel there. He'll help you bring in the right people to sit down and set up a meeting. So my time's up right now. And I want to thank the Diamond Head board, chair, all of you, and thank you for what you contribute to committee. And yes, that bridge is a big issue, and I've been tracking that one too. So take care.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Beret. We really appreciate you coming tonight, and you're a great example for the other chairs as well. And we're delighted that you're on the Neighborhood Commission as well. I just wanted to see if we have any questions or comments. But would you say, is the neighborhood plan revision, is that your biggest task this year for the commission?
Yes, it is. And it is. And Patrick Smith is doing an eloquent job of going through every single line item. And we've also have expertise in the room from years back of experience of discussing these issues. But the plan is being improved. The survey is going to feed the neighborhood plan, because when Melendez gets his report done, we expect in the next 30 days or so, that's going to feed the neighborhood plan committee. But again, you're all welcome to tune in. I know Michelle comes in at times, and so do you. listen in and also contribute at times. There's some times that you disagree with some of the things that are going on, and they need to hear that too. So, but thank you, and I'll let you continue on, Chair, with your agenda if there are no
Okay, I think
questions.
there might be a couple here. And so, yeah, this is a good chance, I think, for us who may have had some suggestions for improvement that might have fallen on somewhat deaf ears to have some more say or some to be heard more clearly. But with that, Michelle, you've got a question or comment for Commissioner Beret?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to express my deepest appreciation for Commissioner Beret providing his stellar overview of the Neighborhood Commission activities and objectives. Not in a lot of detail, but at least a summary that we can follow up on. I have a question about the survey committee. There were 2 dates mentioned, December 27th and Thursday, December 23rd. The 27th is a Monday. So what is the actual committee meeting date for the survey committee? And what is the survey committee charged with that communicates with our neighborhood boards?
Well, right now, the Chair Melendez has put together the initial graphics to relate to all the questions that were that came in, and has weighed those out in percentages. He's going to present that, but most importantly, it's all the issues that were presented. There's a lot of redundant information, but they are important issues that were brought up where a lot of board members would like to see improvements in neighborhood plan, especially for the neighborhood boards and meeting times and things like that. But that meeting is on, according to what I put down, was Thursday, January 23rd. That's the neighborhood. Oh, excuse me. That's the neighborhood plan committee. Let me see my notes here.
I think you mentioned the 27th.
Yeah, let me get this right here. I apologize. I was frantically doing this. Okay, so the survey committee meeting is on Thursday, January 23rd at 6 p.m. That's the survey committee.
Okay.
And the January 27th is the regular commission meeting. And we're still trying to figure out when to do the neighborhood plan committee. That'll be announced.
Okay. Regarding all questions of important issues and improvements, our board has had serious questions about limitation of meeting time for our important issues, as well as defective minutes that do not disclose the communities and the board's questions, concerns, the responsive answers, and board recommendations and comments. So that absence is in violation of the state statute for open meetings, and I can provide you the sections of the state statute that is being violated. Secondly, Pat Smith is highly respected, and I understand that the next neighborhood commission meeting is the 27th of January. We really need to help our chair out with a limited time on our meetings, considering our agenda items that affect the whole community district comprised of 3 neighborhood sections. And we need help on that from the commission. We need support in providing ample time for our meetings. We need support in providing minutes with full disclosure of community concerns and comments and questions and answers. And those are the main serious concerns. And of course, there are others that other boards may have as well. Thank you.
And Michelle, I hear you loud and clear. And I know that those are key areas that other boards have also made comment on. So what I ask is if you could hold off, wait till we get to that as we go through the review. Right now, we're going through all the responsibilities of the commission itself, but soon we're going to get to neighborhood boards, and those are the ones you want to attend. And I guarantee you, and this is me, I guarantee you, we will discuss the issues that you just brought up. So, and we'll figure out that way ahead. But thank you. And other than that, is there anything else that, any other questions? Because I know you guys need to move on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, increased collaboration amongst the boards as well, from the boards rather than the commission. You have your own work to do there, but this is such a wonderful system that we have that folks around the country don't have. And, we're all great supporters of it. So whatever we can do to make this more effective and responsive, not just for the citizens, but for the city, it's not a one-way street. We're all in it together. So we really appreciate the work that you're doing, especially on a volunteer basis, and hope that you feel better as well, and wish you very happy holidays.
Hi,
also,
Chair. Sorry, I have one more question for the commissioner. I didn't
Go
want to.
ahead.
That's it. We lost connectivity for a hot second on there, so forgive me if you already said this, but can you clarify if there is a meeting in December or if the two meetings are in January only? That was the part that I lost.
We don't have any commission meetings in December. It all starts back up again in January. January 27th is the next commission meeting. January 23rd is the survey committee, and then we'll announce when the neighborhood plan committee is going to be.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll be honest with you guys, if I was king for a day, we wouldn't have any meetings the month of December, giving everybody a break.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Larry. Yep. Aloha.
All right. Thank you so much. And you all take care and keep up the great work.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha. Okay. Wonderful that we have folks like Commissioner Beret overseeing the whole of the neighborhood board system from the board's perspectives. So with that, we will go back to the resolution about the DTS and concerns about bus route 200. I hope that folks have had a chance to look at some of the testimony in there. We've heard this before last month and the month before. I think there was, like I said, the identical resolution for Kaimuki, because we share, of course, the border with them on this route in many places. And with that, assuming that you have had a chance to look at that, I suppose we should have a motion if we want to accept this resolution, and then we can go into discussion about it and have some testimony. Is that the correct order that we should do, Curtis?
Yes.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to accept the resolution as it's been presented in the Google Drive in your materials.
Motion to
Can
pass
we
the
accept the
resolution.
resolution?
Is
I
that Margaret?
second it. Yeah,
Okay.
or second it.
And was that Angie? Were you?
Yeah.
Yes,
Angie's
sorry.
first.
Thank you. Okay, and folks, so let's maybe have some discussion about this. It's an important issue for the community. Are there folks that would like to weigh in on this resolution?
Very much, yes. There's a few community members in person
Okay, and
with visuals.
And visuals. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if Curtis, if you'll be able, so some of these are going to be, I think, people holding stuff I see there. So if it's online, then
Yes, there's
we'll do our
pictures
best.
also in the Google Drive. They provided a thumb drive for Curtis.
Okay, so the
Yes.
pictures are also in the Google Drive under the testimonies section. Probably most of them, you can get a very good idea of what this is about. And I'll ask folks that if folks have already repeated something once or gone into it, you can just very briefly say, yes, you agree with Mary or Tommy or Sally. Go ahead.
Hi, yes, my name is Leo Lenny Iwaki. I've been here before. But I would like to just show a picture. I want you to see that this is on Aloha Avenue. This is just one hill. This is the hill that comes off of KCC. There's two hills on Aloha Avenue. These are the blind spots. You have the top and the bottom. So your cars are coming to the top and on the bottom. You can't see what's approaching these two hills. This is what makes Aloha Avenue very dangerous and unsafe for the community. And putting a bus line onto this road was just, well, it's just doesn't help our elderly. And you could see from the resolution, there was a picture of someone on a wheelchair sitting on the street. Aloha Avenue, one side has sidewalks, the other side does not. So you're bringing our kupuna, you're bringing the disabled and children to an unsafe situation to catch a bus. So that's really not. And of course, KCC, we have cars that are constantly, I mean, it's so fast that the rate at which the cars and now we have biki bikes and we have every kind of moped and bicycles and skateboards that are coming down from KCC to and from. It's just really, really very dangerous. But yes, and I wanted to just let you know that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And some other folks in person.
Yes, my name is Juanita Liu, and I have also want to thank this board very much for allowing us to speak on this matter on 2 occasions. So I'll be brief because we have covered a lot of the safety issues. And I think Curtis may be showing some of the pictures so that it's actually on the screen so people can see the blind spots. You can fix the sidewalks, you can fix the ADA platforms, but there's no way you're going to be able to fix the dips in the road. And there are 2 blind spots, and it's very difficult to see oncoming traffic. Anybody who knows that street knows that to be the case. So that's the main concern. I don't think this problem is fixable. And so that is why there's such a strong opposition to having a bus route on this, particularly on this street. But Leilani has actually a signed petition of about 45 people supporting this resolution. And we also have another group of 45 households that have reviewed and support this resolution. So she's going to be presenting it to Curtis to present to you, Chairman Welch. And, the sentiment was we can't have the bus on this dangerous street, but there is a really great solution because what people want to do is to restore the former Route 9 that went through our neighborhood. Now, since the last month, we have had a chance to really look at the bus routing and study it and actually do dry runs. And what it is that Route 9 served a very good purpose. And it is the only Mauka to Makai direct route from Wildlight Avenue to Diamond Head Road. And here, yeah, I don't know if we can show that higher.
And that's also in the testimony online for those of you who are
Yeah,
online.
it's going to be in, we gave it electronically, but there's no way I can talk and also point to what we're talking about here. So, okay, so we're talking about, I understand from the report that it's to connect the 2 routes, Palolo Valley and also Kapahulu Park, this section of Kapahulu Park. So we're really talking about the connecting route that would go in the neighborhood of Kamiki Kapahulu. So there are various ways of doing that. And they have chosen to go along this red line here, which goes to Market City and then up Kamiki Avenue and turn right on 6th Avenue and then on Aloha to KCC. And we were told that they wanted to find a direct route from Market City to KCC. Okay, however, nobody likes that route. Okay, nobody along the route likes that. And we know because, going door to door and canvassing, nobody likes that route. What people are saying instead is they want that route restored because now they took away Route 9, which is this green line here. So there's a big space here that's really unserved by the buses. This whole 18th Avenue, which is Kamiki Middle School, Now there is no bus access from Wildlife Avenue to Diamond Head. And that presents some very troubling unintended consequences. One is that a lot of the population is now routed away from Kaimiki town. I mean, the Palula Valley residents, as well as the Kaimiki residents, you would like to use the bus route to allow them to get to Kaimiki town. But now the people who live in this area, bus would have to take either bus route 2 or 3 and go to Market City or Kahala Mall first. And so it's kind of bypassing the businesses in Kaimiki town where a lot of people go. And, you know, I used to go to Kaimiki Intermediate, which is right on 18th Avenue, which now is not served by this bus route. So I used to go to Kaimiki town to either go to the library or to transfer to go to school after that. So it represents a real loss to the Kaimiki residents as well. Okay, so the resolution is quite simple. We're simply asking to remove a route that nobody wants in favor of a route that pretty much everybody wants restored. And you know, because I have a background in this area, because my doctorate is in economic geography, but I have a master's in regional science, which is regional planning. So I had some courses in location theory. So I just want to kind of very simplify this with a model. And this is how we would approach it from an analytical standpoint. So you have a situation where you want to get from point A to point B. This is Market City, this is KCC. And you have a population, this is kind of cool. You can see on the map, it mirrors that. And you have buses going all along that route. And in addition, you have, you know, the freeway going here and so forth, and only limited whatever. So how would you, what is the best routing to get from A to B? Would you go along here or would you go along here? Now, if you go along here on the perimeter, which is what they have chosen to, by putting it through Aloha, what you have done is, and eliminated this path that goes in the middle, transversing this huge area. Can you see that this is not a good solution? It's probably the worst solution because there are analytical models that you can find, not going to get into that, to model this, to show that this would be the best solution to maximize your bus coverage, to minimize the length of distance that your bus riders would have to take the route to serve the entire community. You would either go across or up and down, okay? And this is a route that existed, you know, I was trying to figure out how long, more than 50, 60 years, that has served the community. And to remove that, I think is, you know, kind of unacceptable, because as I looked at the entire map of Honolulu, there is no other community that is so underserved by the bus. It's not that we're against the buses. We want to have a bus that's going to serve our community well. In fact, the worst solution is putting it along the perimeter. Can you see that? Because you're not going to achieve your goal of serving the community. In fact, it's between 2 existing bus routes and 2 that get to KCC. So you're not adding any ridership. In fact, even worse, you're cannibalizing the other 2 bus routes. So we think that, you know, we really need to sit down with DTS. We welcome, they're welcome to do that. We also yesterday went to the Palula board, and they are canvassing their people about their bus riders, about where they want to go. And I think that, you know, I really welcome this. It should be a win-win situation where we can all benefit from this. The bus, yes, we want the bus, but we want it to serve our Kamiki and Kapahulu communities, as well as the Palolo people. So we're gonna all get together. I mean, we don't just want to complain, but we want to do our due diligence to come up with a plan and to come up with people's opinions about their preferences, and then sit down and talk with DTS and the bus company to come up with a good solution. And you're right, Chairman Welch, this is an incredible, you know, first time I'm involved with neighborhood boards, but this is a really wonderful way to come about with community solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there other folks who have anything different to say or that just wish to
comment?
echo?
I live here in Mauna Loa, and Aloha, I'm very familiar with this area because there's bus 3 and number 2 bus 3 on Kilauea and bus 2 in Campbell. And it's only like 1 or 2 blocks away. As this area by 18th Avenue, I know people live around here too. There's really no buses there right now. So just want to point.
Thank you. Are there other folks who wish to talk about this in person? I see Daisy. Go ahead.
Thanks, Chair. I agree with the ladies that did a lot of groundwork. That makes more sense. Go back to the Route 9 because it makes more sense. I've ridden the bus 200 several times. I can get from Kaimaki to my house in Kapahulu in 3 to 10 minutes. I told Director Orton on November 23rd at the so-called Alawai Ridge Alternative presentation. And I told him what's wrong with making it go like the Route 13 and 14. And once it gets to Market City, make a right turn like 13 and 14, and then it can go and continue on to Kapilani Park. He said, no, that is the route they want because the people in Palolo want to go to Waikiki. That was his answer, which did not make sense because I told him the amount of people that go to Waikiki from Kaimiki or Palolo, you can count on your hand, which is like maybe 4 or 5. Doesn't make sense. I told him, you're not making money. People in Palolo need the bus route. That's not a question. Question is their route. It should change back or another more route that, because it seems as though he doesn't think that Aloha Avenue and 6th Avenue becomes a dangerous spot. He doesn't see that. He thinks it's okay, which is wrong. So I hope our council members also see that it is a problem for the community before somebody really gets hurt or get killed. Thank you.
Thank you, Daisy. Are there other comments about this topic? Go ahead, Angie.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank our community members for coming back and doing all that research. I was a personal rider of Route 9 and I miss it so much. And I remember when they changed it, I was shocked because I've been only using it for the past couple of years, but it gets you where you need to go and you get to see a lot of the places around it. So no, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I forgot to mention that it also serves people from outside our community. You know, I heard about John Rampage from Diamond Head Theater, and he was, you know, really concerned about it because he takes the bus to work. And he said, he emailed me and said, what used to be 25 minutes now takes an hour and a half to 2 hours on 2 to 3 buses. So this is a kind of inconvenience that we're presenting our community with by the loss of that only Mauka to Makai route in our entire Kamiki neighborhood, which is 20 blocks across, 8,000 feet, and 6 blocks up and down, which is 4,000 feet. And the bus standard is, you know, bus stops about 1,000 feet away. And part of the transit plan, bus transit plan, is a focus on Mauka to Makai. So it's really incomprehensible how they removed the only Mauka to Makai route in all of this huge span of area. I mean, why are they doing this to us in Kamiki? So I think that, you know, we really concerned about that. And as we look closer at the actual routing and the actual, you know, what the buses are doing, there's no reason why they cannot restore that bus 9.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had, as you, the testifiers have said, scores of people have testified about this, saying more or less the same thing about the dangers and the inconveniences of the change. You guys are so well prepared, which is wonderful to have that, and DTS should hire you as consultants. But perhaps if DTS, maybe they may want to meet with us, and maybe what we can do is form a joint committee with Palolo and Kaimuki if we want to look at this further and have DTS come and understand this, which you have, I mean, just right there is talking about the 8,000 feet and the 6,000 of the bus standard being 1,000. That's meaningful. And for folks that take this, you're penalizing them for taking the bus, like Mr. Rampage. So beyond that, though, at the basic level, it is dangerous on Aloha now. I can speak to this from personal experience. It was dangerous before, it's more dangerous now. So if there are no other folks that
Yeah,
wish to
just me.
testify. Go ahead.
That's me. Yeah,
I'm
thank
sorry, I
you,
don't
Chair.
see you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you, Chair.
Oh,
Actually,
Rafia, yes, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I just want to support. I was rider of the bus route 9. Actually, this I want to support. It's bus 200 is really not work. It's really, I miss bus number 9. I support all of the neighbors. It's kind of no work, actually. We want the back number 9 again.
Okay, thank you, Rafia. And with that, I will call for a vote.
Chair,
Go ahead.
Chair Welch, may I make a comment?
Oh, yeah, go
This
ahead.
is Carol
please, Jean.
Hosko. Yes, I, since it's been mentioned that perhaps part of the rationale for this Route 200 was to get people from Palolo to Kapiolani, and that route was decided. I really do, I am going to ask for some input from the student government because, I don't know that anybody was students, if that's the rationale, were really consulted or talked to or their opinion sought. Whether that's what they want, because I know a lot of them were riding 9 and they ride 3 and they ride 2. So I will ask them, definitely bring some information back.
Thank you, Dean. And I also, I saw a couple other hands go up while I have the closed captions on and you were blocked off. So I see Michelle, you have a comment?
Yes, Chair Welch, I just really want to commend you for your comments that are right on target. And also KCC Dean Hoshiko's comments about people not being informed properly. This is a serious issue. And, what really pops into mind here is the constriction of bus routes that are sorely needed. And the rail coming up Kapahulu, no, coming up Kapiolani, and the high rises being built for the rail and the bridge being built for rail access to Waikiki from Kapiolani. Isn't this all a scheme along with the bus routes to constrict efficient access so people will be forced to ride a rail that we can't afford? That's a redundant question. Thank you.
Okay, well, and that may be, but I think more likely it's going to force people to get into their cars. And I saw Mr. Crucky, did you have a hand up or did you want to wait off on that for a bit?
So, all of the information, I think Chair, DTS and Roger Morton have agreed to do a workshop with you.
Yep.
They're gathering the ridership now, and their consultants are analyzing it in preparation for a workshop. Doesn't affect whether you should pass or not pass the resolution. But there is a way for the folks that were speaking, especially to make their case directly to DTS so that that message can really be heard on an interactive basis like that. So that's all. They're committed to doing that. It's more of a scheduling issue.
Okay, it's good to hear. I had sort of felt like this was not going to be changed from consultation, but Director Morton did say he would. So some folks had asked if ridership information was available, and he said he would make that available when he gets full staff in. So, okay, and I'm sorry I missed you folks when I didn't see your hands up. But if that's all, then I will call for the vote on this resolution. If you could call the roll, Curtis.
Resolution to adopt resolution urging the Department of Transportation Services and the City of County of Honolulu to address the safety concerns routing of the newly installed the bus route 200. Allen.
Aye.
Aye. Boydell.
Nay.
Nay. Decker.
Wow.
Decker. Absent. Hasina.
Aye.
Aye. Khan.
Aye.
Aye. Knight.
Aye.
Aye. Mattson.
Aye.
Aye. Murchie.
Aye.
Aye. St. Dennis. St. Dennis. Absent. Velasco. Absent. Welch.
Aye.
Aye. Witzel.
Aye.
Absent. Oh, aye. Wong. Bruce Wong. Absent. Linda Wong.
Aye.
Aye. On a vote of 9 ayes, 1 no, and 0 abstentions, the resolution has been adopted.
Okay, thank you very much, Curtis. Yeah, I think since Larry's on the line, this is one of those things I remember when this came out in, I think it was July. We really didn't have much time before this was announced to the community. And if we can do something with the neighborhood commission, one thing that would really, and probably this is your board too, is when the city is thinking about things, we need as much advance notice as possible at whatever department it is, whether it's DPP or DTS or DFM, to come out and consult with the community rather than having the fait accompli. I think that's so many of these issues. And if that's something we can write into the plan so that we can help the city not spend so much time doing backpedaling after something has come out, because it seems like that's where a lot of the issues come up, and probably the same in your area too, Commissioner Beret. So I will just leave it at that, but to say that seems like we get that a bit here. So
Yeah, and if I can add just for a second, the neighborhood plan will have these processes in there, but you guys just did the right process. You heard the community, you acted on it, and your other alternative you had besides the resolution, don't never forget this, is your direct letter from you as the chair of the board directly to Mr. Morton, to Director Morton. And it's nice, Mr. Crookie, let you know that you looks like you got a good dialogue coming up, so your chance of getting what you want are probably pretty good.
yeah,
So that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, thank you. And we have excellent representatives from the city, and we're very fortunate to have Director Krucky as ours. Okay, very good. Then let's move on to the next topic, which has been an emergent issue. It's been going on a while. It's in a dangerous area of Diamond Head, which is urging the city and county of Honolulu to prohibit motorized vehicle parking within Makalei Beach Park. And I know there was already a suggestion that we amend that to something else. Maybe we can get to that in a minute, but essentially we have a lot of testimony there about how mopeds, first of all, they were parking outside and blocking the entrance to the park. And then as people know, there's many vehicles that speed down there and flip and whatnot, but other users could not enter the park. I think that probably abated a little bit, but then what's happened is that mopeds are parking inside of the park now and have torn up a lot of the park. Oil may be spilling or gasoline. It's not designed for motorized vehicles inside of the park. And so the city is proposing at this time to put a concrete pad inside of the park, which many have objected to, as you can see in the testimony it's not supposed to be for motorized vehicles, so getting them in and out, but plus it's the noise, it's the congestion, it's when they run out of space, they will still park in the grass and tear things up. So I think the essential gist of this is that we do not want parking in this beach park for danger and inconvenience to others, but there are other alternatives and locations for people who wish to use this park to park safely and allow the beach park to be used by all in a safe manner and consistent with being a park rather than a parking lot. If I have mischaracterized that, please feel free to change that. But with that, I will take a motion to adopt this motion, and then we can look at changing any words as we may need. Any motion to adopt this resolution?
I make a motion to adopt this resolution as written.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, that's Michelle. Okay, and we have anyone who would like to comment on this resolution? And I hope you've had a chance to read many of the extensive comments of neighbors as well who are affected by this, as well as noise. I mean, that's another one of the revving of the engines. Angie, did you want to go say something?
I had a question, and then I know there's people here that want to speak. My question was, because I was looking for this once the agenda came out, was the resolution posted in the drive before today? And I missed it, or was it just today that it was posted?
It came in today. It came in today.
Okay. Okay. In the future, can we do it earlier?
That's my goal. I did not get it until today, but yes.
That was my one question. Community members, if you want to share your concerns and opinions, please come to the mic.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Walsh and the board. Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak with me tonight. I am a resident. My name is Catherine Conrad. I am a resident of Monterey Place. And the Monterey Beach Park is directly catty corner from the Monterey Place intersection. And currently that intersection trying to get into Diamond Head Road, there's a blind spot coming down from the Kahala direction. And now you're proposing the mopeds having parking and going in and out of Macaulay Place. It's between 10 and 15 feet from Macaulay Place intersection. And right now the congestion is so bad in the area. Anyway, we have speeders there. We've had many, many accidents. The community has approached the Department of Transportation. We had meetings with Roger Morton about traffic calming. That was almost 2 years ago, and we have not had any answers. And so we have had this moped using the parks illegally for a good amount of time. And we know the pattern of what happens. And they park at the entrance, and they also go into the entrance and wait there and stuff. That becomes congested, and the pedestrians can't access the park. And then you also have the mopeds going on and the congested on the sidewalk waiting to get onto Diamond Head Road. And so you look down here at the Macaulay intersection coming out into Diamond Head Road, and it's a blind spot. And then you have all this congestion here, and it's making the area so much more dangerous to travel. So that's that. I have another issue. There is a right-of-way in Macaulay Beach Park for the 19 property owners on Macaulay Place. I called Tommy Waters' office when I realized that the Director Thielen was placing this no parking lot for the mopeds on what I thought was our right-of-way. Tommy Waters was great. He started an investigation with the Department of Design and Construction, and they responded back. And I'm going to read what they said. They said that it's validated that the property owners each have an undivided interest in the adjacent right-of-way. Well, the word adjacent is a little problematic right now. One of these documents that I got from Tommy Waters showed the property that was in determination to be condemned in 1974 park. And that included parcel A, which was the right-of-way, parcel B, which was the major part of this area to make a park, and parcel C, which made up the sidewalk area. And so when you looked at the TMK map now with Adam Duke, he brought it up. There's a wall on Macaulay Place and Macaulay Beach Park. And that is between the park and the adjacent property owner. And the current TMK map shows that this right-of-way is on the other side of the wall. That's not in the park, it's on the other side. And it is in the private property. It shows the overhang from the roof almost in this right-of-way, and there's no access. It is walled off by a wall on Diamond Head Road, and it's vegetation makes it not passable into the beach. So I talked to my neighbor who was also here tonight, and he was living in the corner lot of Macaulay Place and Diamond Head Road, right across from the park. And he remembers that there was this wall there. And then I asked him, I said, was there a path or anything? And he said yes, that it was on the Kapahulu side of, this wall, which would make it into the park. And with a gated entrance, and the property owners each had a key to access this. So I'm requesting the city to do a survey of where this right of way actually is, because this is where Laura Phelan is suggesting that it's all marked out. We never, the community was never informed that a parking lot was just going here. And as far as I know, Rick Langiardi, our mayor, he was not informed, city council, then Tommy Waters' office was not informed, and I'm not too sure about the Department of Transportation. But this has just been, we just went down a week ago, Monday and Tuesday, and saw some chalk marks in Monterey Beach Park. And we found out that it's a parking lot. No input from the city agencies or community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. Are there other folks who wish to chime in?
Aloha, members of the neighborhood board. I'm Alexi Drew, and I've been a resident for 11 years at Makale Beach Park, and I strongly oppose the construction of a motorized vehicle parking lot in the park. Last year, I went to the park with my wife and my 1-year-old kid to Leai Beach Park, and after the sunset, when we tried to leave, there were so many mopeds that the entrance of the park was completely blocked, and we could not, leave. So I had to physically myself move one of the mopeds out of the way to create a safe passage for my family to leave the park. So as much as I'm also in agreement that this is it's an environmental issue, it's an historic park that shouldn't be done. There's all sorts of concern. My main concern is that it's an ADA access issue. As well, and that it's not an isolated incident, as we've had plenty of close calls of mopeds coming down the sidewalk, pushing residents out of the way, and pedestrians as well. The proposed area that's been mapped out by the Department of Park and Recreation is too small to accommodate all the mopeds that do come to Makale. On a high day, there will be 25 to 30 mopeds. Maybe the area will hold 5 to 8. What's going to happen is the overflow of those mopeds will go right at the entrance and recreate the scenario that I've had with my family. And it is the law of the state of Hawaii makes it that mopeds are prohibited from riding on the sideways and pedestrian area, as well as Makale Beach Park is a preservation zone and located at a blind curve and intersection on Diamond Head Road that's already been prone to accident. Every year there's one major accident that happens exactly at that spot. And so, these mopeds continue to park here. And if we build a parking lot inside the park, we're only encouraging more traffic to come in. This park is a fragile resource, and now it's been abused by years of illegal parking that's eroded the grass and many other concerns. The previous causes that I've led here in this neighborhood point to the fact that I'm a hardened promoter of keeping access to the park for everybody, and we must protect our constitutional right to have beach access, but that right does not extend to motorized vehicles, especially when there are better solutions and ample parking in the neighborhood. We've done a signage that's been somewhat efficient. There's been a chain, and what's been the most efficient has been HPD enforcement. And all of these solutions are ADA compliant. They would not destroy our historic park, and they would not block ADA access to the park. So the proposal is simply unnecessary and, in my opinion, dangerous. And just before this meeting, as I was going in, I was reminded by my wife that a few weeks ago, she was playing there with my son that's now 2 years old, and she literally had to move my son out of the sidewalk when a moped was coming down and that would not, get out of the way. We need to make our park safe, ADA accessible for all users, families, individuals of all disabilities, as well as emergency vehicle. What if a beach emergency that happens all the time would happen and the access to Makalei Beach Park would be blocked by mopeds? So instead of creating a situation where my story just keeps happening over and over again, I really urge the board to approve this resolution to halt the DPR's plan to build a parking lot. I believe our community is really unified, against this to preserve our park. And so please approve this resolution not to build this parking lot. Makalei Beach Park is a park, not a parking lot. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alexi. And Alexi, since you live right there, I just had a quick question for you. Are cars allowed to park at Makalei Beach Park?
No.
So we're not discriminating against mopeds because they're mopeds. If we were to
No.
pass this, there's no parking at all. for
There's no
motorized vehicles.
parking at all. Of course, people double park there all the time. So, but that is not allowed. There's actually a no parking sign right in front of the park.
Okay.
I guess the only exception to this would be permitted vehicles like city, that do landscaping work, but I'm sure that's not what your question is. So
Right.
the answer is no.
Okay. Yeah,
And this is the point, is that it's the motorized vehicle that we do not want to have access to the park. We want people to come to this park. We really do enjoy it. It's an amazing park. We do want people to come. Just find parking. There's ample street parking all around the neighborhood. And we're just finding that we've been lockstep with the city, HPD, to have signage that prevents motorized vehicle in, to have a chain. And now there's like a reversal of course, where we're just inviting this traffic in by building a parking lot inside the park. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification, which I think we all knew, but I just wanted to make sure that this is not, it's just, there's no parking, no motorized vehicles there. And there never has been. So are there any other comments from our board? Okay, here's someone.
May I speak?
Go ahead.
My name's Louise Hyatt. I'm a resident of Coconut Avenue for a long time. I also do not want, I prohibit the parking of mopeds in Makalei Park. It is a blind curve. There are, I'm a microbiologist and I've done some studies recently too on the water quality there. And we don't do regular water quality testing, but on any given day, and a statistic of what's been happening with the mopeds. Last Saturday, December 7th, there were 143 people laying on the sand at 1 p.m. There were 37 people in the water, not counting the surfers. There were 45 people in the beach park. There were 17 mopeds on the sidewalk parked, and there were 14 inside the park. And we don't do regular testing. I think it's a public health hazard. I myself have been sick with salmonella twice last year. I tested the water myself. It does have fecal coliform because of the increase in moped riders and patrons. Like we said, we don't really mind the people coming. It's just the moped, inviting the mopeders to park in there will only create an increase infrastructure. There are no restroom facilities. This small little neighborhood beach park has no access to bathrooms. And we know they're using the water in there, if anything, and it's just not health-wise okay. And so I really would like to oppose this parking and this here and Leahi Beach Park as well. Same thing is happening. That's it. Yes. Any questions?
Thank you. Are there any other folks who wish to testify or talk about this?
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Severn, and I oppose the parking lot also at Makalei Beach Park. I would love to oppose the parking lot at Leahi as well. I don't really understand why we have to accommodate mopeds. We don't accommodate cars. I don't understand why a pristine little, except for the microbiology, why we can't leave it alone. It's there for families, Kapuna, people, there was like a wedding reception or a wedding thing happening. All kinds of people come to the park. It's very popular. And somehow they get there without a moped, and they'll still get there without a moped if they want to come. We don't have a responsibility to help people drive up to the beautiful environments that we provide here on Hawaii. And I don't understand the doubling down on this argument. I don't, it's a solution looking for a problem. We've already done some calming measures that have helped and continue as word gets out, but we rely on enforcement from HPD. I'm not sure if that's where it's coming from, if maybe they don't want to be making moped enforcement visits all the time. So I'm not really sure why all of a sudden, with all the things that need to be done in our parks, why they focused on Makale Beach Park and decided they wanted to pave part of it and accommodate more mopeds. And if you look at it, we should have done some beautiful displays like you offered, because the pedestrian walkway winds right down to the beach and it winds. So there's no good area for a parking lot in there. There'll be mopeds coming in and out, and it's just it'll be a nightmare. And so I don't really understand why DPR has set their sights on Makale Beach Park. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have, go ahead.
Hi, Kimo Cameron. I live on Makale Place, right in the corner. Oppose this measure to build a parking lot. Just some history on the easement. There used to be an old trail that, when I grew up, that was the only access to the beach. And there were 3 homes in the park. Our family got a key to the lock back in the 70s. And then the lock was broken. But the easement, I guess it never really, when they condemned the property, I'm not sure if they took the whole park and left the easement under the 19 residents. It's still there, yeah. So, yeah, so it's kind of the same theory that what happened in Fort Rock, where the residents put a gate up and they locked it. They also thought about putting a gate up at the old Tongs Trail back in the day when I was a kid. And putting a concrete slab in the park, the terrain just won't work. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I see Margaret, you had a comment?
Well, I used to live right there on Diamond Head Road, right on the park. And there were lots of accidents. It is a blind spot. They rev up coming from the park towards Kahala. There are no bathrooms there at all. And social media has encouraged people to come down there. That's why it's getting busier and busier. And now commercial vehicles host parties and events, their weddings and picnics, and they drop the customers off. So that's where a lot of them are coming. That has nothing to do with the mopeds, but the mopeds are a real problem.
Okay, thank you. And Secretary Boydell, you have a comment?
Thank you, Chair. I have not seen the proposal to build a parking lot in Makale Beach Park. But this reminds me of, in recent years, this board adopted a resolution to oppose the Biki station outside of Leahi Beach Park and got it removed. And it's hard to access these parks because there's no parking. And it's hard, it makes it hard for our neighbors in other parts of the neighborhood to get to those parks and enjoy them. So I don't know how plentiful the parking is in the neighborhood. I've heard a lot of complaints about there being a lack of parking in the neighborhood. So yeah, I think we should get a presentation on this proposed parking lot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Secretary Boydell. And Ms. Mattson?
Thank you, Chair Welch. Following up on Board Member Boydell's comments, I think the resolution does highlight that the present director of the Department of Parks and Recreation never approached the community on this unilateral and arbitrary decision to pave over part of the limited park area of Makalei Beach Park, which is a historic park, which was dedicated for public pedestrian use. The issue about the right-of-way extends way back to the 1930s, when the Makalei Place homes were built, and there was no beach access because there were residents aligned all along Diamond Head Road. So there was a beach right-of-way, a public right-of-way created to the beach. I remember as a child going down that right-of-way from Makalei Place to gather shells on the beach. Well, there are no longer shells on the beach. There is no longer a right-of-way, and there is a wall that appears to be encroaching on the public right-of-way that was built to seal off Makalei Beach Park for whatever purpose. There are a lot of, I think, legal issues here, but as far as the mopeds and motorcycles, the incursion of all of these vehicles on this sensitive historic landscape and passive park area with the view plane from Diamond Head Road to the ocean. This is absurd. And to have a parking area constructed within this limited area for the purpose of encouraging more motorized vehicles to not only enter the park, but continue doing what they're doing in tearing up the grass, the open space, and roaring down to the beach and blocking the entrance. This is highly questionable, and we do not know how one administrative individual could have the liberty to take this action without any public input. The other thing is that we do have the jurisdictional ability as a neighborhood board to advise the city on these matters. Yet no presentation was ever given to the neighborhood board. This was done behind the scenes and all of a sudden was announced. And I think this is part of the reason why the community is up in arms. So I think we need to be responsible. The board members, the last comments by this board member really have no basis as far as the significance concerns that have been raised and the protection of this historic scenic area with the scenic qualities and passive recreational offering this park has for all of the community. And yes, there are parking places along Diamond Head Road that can accommodate parking, but pedestrians, visitors, residents, families who picnic there, they all enter the park on foot. And there are many of them, but they have been precluded by myriad motorized vehicles that are now taking over because they are communicating on social media that they are taking over the park. So let's get real here. Let's protect not only the community, but our historic and natural scenic assets from such invasions and disrespect. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And yes, I appreciate all the comments tonight. And of course, we want access to our parks. And I know I'm just looking at a Google Earth image here. It's literally 3 houses away from Coconut Avenue where people could park a moped if they wanted to. And and safely, walk along the sidewalk. And this has never been an issue in the past. It is a recent issue that has come over and taken over a park. And if it were, in other places, we'd have the same, I think, response. I think we've probably heard enough comments about this to call for a vote. And I will do so. If Curtis, if you could take a roll.
Roll call vote on the resolution urging the city and county of Honolulu to prohibit motorized vehicle parking within Makalei Beach Park. Allen.
Aye.
Aye. Boydell.
Abstain.
Abstain. Decker. Absent. Asina.
Aye.
Aye. Khan.
Aye.
Aye. Knight.
Aye.
Aye. Matson.
Aye.
Aye. Murchie.
Aye.
Aye. St. Dennis. Absent. Velasco. Absent. Welch.
Aye.
Aye. Witzel. Absent. Bruce Wong. Absent. Linda Wong.
She's saying aye. There's her thumb up.
I see a thumbs up. All right. On a vote of 8 ayes, 0 noes, and 1 abstention, the resolution has been adopted.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your comments on this and for the community to come out on this. This is, as our first testifier on this said, we had met with the city about this very dangerous intersection when that car flipped over, if you'll remember that. And I thought we would have some resolution on the speeding here and the really terribly dangerous traffic here. We need to come back to the city and just keep this on the agenda every single month in the area until it is made safe for the residents and tourists alike, pedestrians, motorists, everybody. Again, I think this is an issue where we have seen that the city might have come to us beforehand before unilaterally saying we're going to do this and say, how can we work on this problem together? How can we solve this? It is a problem that sort of emerged recently, but again, whenever we can have the departments come to us and work together collaboratively rather than having a reactive, resolution against something where it's probably not necessary if we were working together in the first place is something, again, maybe Mr. Beret and Director Crucky, we can try and stress that as much as possible, even as we know our city workers are under a lot of different constraints. But this maybe will make their jobs easier the more consultation we have. With that, I appreciate everybody's inputs. We will move on then. We don't have a
Sorry,
presentation.
Chair, can I say
Yes,
one more
ma'am.
thing on that? Can I
ahead.
make a recommendation to our board that we look at Leahagi Beach Park as well for their parking concerns?
Yes, but they weren't brought up this time, and I think
Oh, no,
that-
I meant for the future, not right now.
Okay,
But
okay.
with
Yeah,
our
and that may come
updates,
up.
yeah.
That may be the next thing on the list to say,
Okay.
okay, well, we're not going to put it there. Let's put it there.
Okay.
But I would hope that the message coming through to DTS, to parks, DPR says, this is a problem here. It's going to be a problem there. So let's not extend it. Madam Matson?
Yeah, I was gonna say they're gonna need our strong words as well.
Yeah.
Chair Welch, I fully support Board Member Knight's comments. I think that consideration of Leahi Beach Park has been secondary to Makalei Beach Park, but they were both incorporated as public passive parks at the same time as extensions of the historic Kapiolani Park. And that cannot be ignored. They are small. Well, actually, Makalei Beach Park is the smallest, and Leahi Beach Park is more spacious, but they are both very small, pedestrian-only accessible beach parks, shoreline parks along the Diamond Head Scenic Byway, within the Diamond Head State Scenic Monument, State Historic Monument, and we must respect these as assets for our, not only this generation, but future generations. And we are striving to protect their integrity. So with this, I agree with Board Member Knight that our next step would be to echo our position for Leahi Beach Park as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And yes, so moving on, we do not have a presentation tonight. We do have the mayor's representative. We appreciate you standing by and listening to everything, Director Crucky. You've got a lot on here. So let's remember the words of Commissioner Beret to always be very kind and gentle with our kind and gentle Director of the Department of Community Services. There's several things on here that I think probably, I'm guessing, Director Crucky, that you'll have a report on, but a lot of it will just be taking information back at this point. December seems to be, an interesting month for things to sort of sometimes shut down. But I will disagree with Commissioner Beret. We must have meetings in December. We've seen many years of buildings, permissions, things happening in December where the boards have then no say. And by the time we get back in January, it's too late. If individuals want to take a break, take a break. But, Santa's not coming for another 12 days and all these other festivals and holidays around that. I think we can work in a board meeting. That's my opinion. And I will recommend that if I'm on the board or even if I'm not, for the next calendar year. So with that, I will turn that over to Director Crucky for some constituent concerns and follow-up reports. And maybe if we can just follow the agenda down, that'd be the easiest thing, unless you have some other things you want to throw in there as you like. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. I will certainly take these resolutions to DTS and DPR. So that's part of the function of my position. Laura Ruby, she talked about the homeless under the Kapiolani Bridge, and that can be a very dangerous area. That stream can rage when it storms, and we've had some issues down there. I've personally inspected it, so we'll have CORE go down there and take another look on that. Laura also made comments about the two charrettes, and they are gathering that information. She added her other comments, but they're gathering the information for those meetings so that they can prepare a presentation, and I think you'll probably get that presentation as well. You probably saw in the news that the city is offering up a potential new landfill site. It's not in your area. It's out a little north of Wahiawa. It's a very difficult process to go through, and there's a lot of laws that have to be abided by, and there's a lot of restricted areas that you can't go into. So if you're opining on that, do the research and go to the E&B department site and understand and see what's going on, and then you may be able to provide good input to that. If in the newsletter that the mayor has, there's some new people. DPR has a new deputy director that's come on board, and also we have a new CIO coming on board, City Tech, and then also a new housing director who is the deputy. So you can see that in the newsletter. In the last meeting, there was, and I think Michelle talked about this a little bit, about Leahi Beach Park. There was erosion along the Diamond Head coastline, and they're pointing out about the seawalls and what's going on. So DPR wrote back to me and said the seawall between Makalei and Leahi Beach Parks is under the jurisdiction of the state of Hawaii. However, Department of Parks and Recs will be reaching out to our design and construction to coordinate repairs to the seawall and park property that's inside of that. You know, as soon as it goes to the ocean, it's a state. The beachfront wall collapse at Queens Surf Beach. We're awaiting, DDC is awaiting approval from the Corps of Engineers for what's called a nationwide permit to start the repair. So that is on their radar to do that, and they're working on that. There was a lot of discussion on the bus route 200 again. And like I said earlier, that Roger Morton has offered to do a workshop with you. And if you plan that out with the right amount of lead time, I think hopefully all those people that presented tonight can make the time to come. They are gathering ridership data. So, you know, the things like, you know, all the people in the community or everybody, you know, those things are what you would present, but you know, you got to get the data, and that's what he's trying to do, is get the actual data to do that. So hopefully that can be scheduled for you. There was the bike station going on to Kapahulu, and the issues about it being moved due to upcoming parameter fencing replacement project at Jefferson Elementary School. DTS allowed the Biki station at the intersection of Kapahulu and Kuhio to be moved onto Kapahulu Avenue. The Biki station has an active street use permit and occupies 2-meter stalls. Delineators were installed in front of the station for added safety. The station's orientation provides added comfort for the Biki users when docking and retrieving the bicycles away from vehicle traffic. So this is a temporary situation, but they try to manage it the best they can while doing the fencing activity. Plan to repave Dole Street. There is a plan to repave Dole Street from University Avenue to St. Louis Drive over the upcoming holiday school break. And it's in accordance with the city complete streets, and they plan to make the roadway layout changes as part of this project. I put in the chat a website you can go to look at it in detail and how they're planning on doing it, and also the email completestreets@honolulu.gov that you can give your feedback. That being said, feedback is due Monday, December 16th. So that concludes both the things you came up with and the things I took notes on during the meeting. I'll take any comments or questions. As always, I appreciate you letting me attend this meeting.
Thank you, Director Krucki. We're always happy to have you here. Are there any folks in person who have a question or comment for Director Krucki beyond what we've already discussed? Seeing none. Daisy, you had a comment?
Hi, thanks, Chair. Thank you, Director Krucki, for always getting the answers. DTS Morton did tell me that the Jefferson School bike site is just temporary because they're fixing the fence, but just that there are times when like, what was it? They just had an event where they had no parking on both sides, so it was a concern. The other thing is, if you look at the bottom of the stations, some of them are crumbling. And of course, the city took over Biki, Hawaii, so that's another concern. And then regarding bus 200, I spoke to DTS Director Morton again on November 23rd at the so-called charrette for the Alawai Bridge, which made no sense because I asked Parsons lead person, Pete, where does the bridge over Alawai end up? He had no answer and he laughed. So my question is regarding bus 200. I told director it takes 3 bus routes, 3 drivers to do what one bus did for years. And why is it not going to be changed back to Route 9? And he answered, because the people in Palolo need to get to Waikiki. That's why they're keeping route bus 200, because the people going to Waikiki. And I told him, I can count the number of people from was it Waialae Avenue all the way to Waikiki? Maybe 4 or 5. That doesn't make sense. The data will show that Palolo people need it and they are the ones using it. Beyond that, you can count them. So it doesn't make sense to go and continue with a dangerous route, and he felt that it was not dangerous. Unfortunately, doesn't make, and Dole Street, I believe I saw the, planning for that. They're gonna narrow the roadway again and makes the left turn lane in the middle on Dole Street, where they're gonna make it even, narrower. So that would not suffice, because when UH has their sessions or their games, it's gonna be hard for people to go and exit or enter for events, because one lane of traffic going each way makes no sense. I think this is what Complete Streets are trying to do. That's what they're trying to do for Kilauea Avenue and other places, which makes no sense. So they really need to go back in and really study the data, because it is going to affect the people around this area. So, DTS has a lot of questions that were not really fully understood or really looked into. So these are things that they really need to study. Thank you.
Thank you, Daisy. And Laura, you have a comment or question?
Yes, Director, I just would like you to pass on to the mayor. Personally, I sent him the email that said, we are now becoming a lay of community neighborhoods, and this is around the canal. And we're coming together with the idea that we really do want a full EIS to reveal all the site and expand to the whole of the community, and really have a major role that the community plays in any kind of planning. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Metzen?
Yes, you mentioned this relocated Beaky station as temporary. Exactly where has it been relocated, and from where in Waikiki?
What was that question again, Michelle?
Regarding the relocated Beaky station in Kapahulu, exactly where has it been relocated from, and where has it been relocated to on Kapahulu?
Could you hear?
Are you? I'm not sure what you're talking about. So help me.
You mentioned a relocated Beaky station, is that correct?
The paving activity on Dole? No?
It
No.
was on Kuhio and Kapahulu, I think, with a
Oh,
big
yeah.
station.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
that was the Beaky station that they moved because they were they're doing the fencing work at Jefferson Elementary School. That was that comment.
So the Beaky station was at Jefferson Elementary.
It's at the intersection of Kapahulu and Kuhio.
Okay, fine. Thank you. And where have they relocated it?
Well, they moved it to the street to give it some room for the fencing work. And then
Okay,
when the fencing work all gets done, they'll move it back.
Okay, which street? Kapahulu from right fronting Jefferson?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I think if I went down there and looked, I'd be able to tell you the answer.
Okay, well, I think my immediate concern was that the Beaky station had been relocated from Waikiki to Kapahulu near Date Street, or LOI Golf Course, or the Waikiki Library, which is basically our jurisdiction. But if it's on the Jefferson School side, then it's the Waikiki Neighborhood Board jurisdiction. In any case, I think we're all a little concerned, given certain recent proposals, that there is a move for Waikiki to expand into Kapahulu with certain housing elements and commercial developments and those sorts of things. So we're very conscious of such comments, and I just want clarification on that. Thank you.
Okay. And are there other questions or comments for Director Crookie?
Hey, Margaret.
Go ahead,
I
Margaret.
have- I've had complaints from people about the lane changes on Pocky Street and Montserrat, Anton. They've changed the directional, they've eliminated right turns and then in both directions. And it's causing traffic backup.
Yeah,
And I don't know.
Margaret, I went and looked at that and
Yeah,
it's a bit confusing to me as well.
I know.
The
It's like, why
explanation
did they do that?
I gave in the explanation I gave in the last meeting was that they did that so that the buses could flow through there.
Great.
That's
And
the
now
reason
traffic
why they were
can't.
changed.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people, ask me because I'm a board member to bring that up, and it is confusing. So can you take that back to Roger too? Ask him why.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I just had a couple questions too, or I wanted to echo what Daisy said about UH on Dole, and I'll submit these as well, but they may bear elevating it. I don't have a problem with the road diet on Dole per se, but the entrance to the parking garage, whether people are turning left, if they're going towards town, it's a very short left turn in, and if there's a game or whatever it is, they should really make that a double left turn. That one is a forced only left turn, and the other one could be an option left or straight to get into the parking garage area if you're going Eva. On the other way, leaving the parking structure after a game or a graduation or something, or even just every night. When I worked at UH, the backup to turn left onto Dole, leaving the parking structure to get, say, over to University, backs up. It can take 30 minutes to get out. And when they're restriping that, they again can put in a forced left turn and then a left or right turn in the right-hand lane so that you could have two lanes leaving as well. That would just speed up traffic and safety because people will cut around and do all sorts of illegal things to get out of there because they can't wait for 30 minutes to get out of the parking garage. And the big,
That is tough, but since it's manually configured, it could be changed. So I'm not sure who oversees that, but let me look into that and see what discussion happens from that.
They just need to go there at 5 in the afternoon to see the exits in the morning and before a game, I guess, otherwise. And the one on the Bicky on Dole, actually, it's pretty dangerous there. Any of those Bickies that back onto the street are just really dangerous. I would suggest that it be moved right across the street in front of the zoo. There's a pretty grassy area that they could put the Bicky at temporarily across Kapahulu, because when they're backing out, there's no place for those bikes to go. And if there's cars or even a bus coming around, they really don't even have 2 or 3 feet to get that bike out, backing up in reverse.
Okay.
Can I add to my comment too? I forgot. I
Go
would
ahead.
really like them to take a look at the left-hand turns on Wailai and Kapahulu. Because people can turn right and go around the block. But there are some that aren't designated left-hand turns and they back up traffic all the way to the freeway. At busy times. So, we need no left turns on some of the roads, and they should take a real good look at Wailai and Kapahulu. Anton, please.
Yeah, to look at a turn signal, that takes a full-on study. So we'll see if a study's been done on that one or not.
I'm just saying,
But it can't be like
put a
Yeah.
sign up, no left turns.
I think Director Crucky's saying
I
we
get
need a
it.
study for
Studies.
that. So
We don't need to
that's
study
just
it.
the way it works.
What it's
Right.
like, I know,
thank you.
but if
And,
they could study it, that would be good.
and Michelle, do you have a final comment?
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you, Chair Welch. I need to take issue with your comment about moving Beaky to the zoo. The zoo is located on Kapahulu Park Trust land, and such a commercial venture of renting vehicles would have to go through the Kapahulu Park trustees. So I would strongly encourage not creating this controversy at this time. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a point well taken. Maybe you can go down on the state library. I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough area. Or maybe just get rid of it there until the fencing is back. They can live without a Beaky station. There's several around in the area. That's a good point, Michelle. Thank you.
Best idea yet. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, so yes, a couple of other things that we had on there that I wanted to point out from Rafia Hasina mentioned that on YLI, that if we can get DTS to do a study on that, it's terribly dangerous crossing where the Times Market and the
4th Avenue.
yeah,
to say.
yeah,
That one's
where
4th
where-
Avenue.
yeah, I'm sorry, it's 4th Avenue, is that what you're saying?
Yes, she's talking about 4th Avenue because it's
Yes.
very not lit and half of the lines are missing, and it's where everyone's trying to exit, and then it gets backed up from Sacred Heart, everyone going up to Palolo. I know that intersection well.
Well, there's one
and
at
it's such
7th
a
and
hazard.
one
Yes.
that's at 4th, and then one at 7th as well. So there's two of them I think that we're looking at here. And the one on 7th is the one on 7th, is that in front of Times or is that
No.
4th?
4th Avenue.
4th is Times.
4th is
is
Times.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really have to dart across. There's no pedestrian
Yeah.
island or anything.
Yeah, 7th is Zippy's.
Yes.
Oh, 7th is Zippy's. Okay, thank you. I don't know why I don't know that after 100 years. Yeah, it's quite dangerous there. Yeah,
it's
no
true.
lines. Yeah, and it's a very open stretch of road there. So there's no, people speed up so they can get down to City Mill after,
Just crossing.
right? I just wanted to point that out because it was on the agenda and it didn't, I think it bears special concern.
Actually, I was witness of several incidents there, almost just bump on each other. That's really risky.
Okay, so I think if there's nothing else, Angie, did you have any?
I did. I just had a question. I know that you're working on the Dole Street Complete Streets, but that leads into St. Louis Drive, which then leads back to Wildlife. And I had a question if you knew when Wildlife would be looked at, because I know whenever you're coming off of that and you go right, there's 2nd Avenue that no one stops for. Like there's a red light that no one really kind of honors, and they use it as a stoplight. And so I was curious if you knew when that area was going to be looked at.
What are the two cross streets?
It's 2nd Ave and Wildlife. And then, because there's like, I'm trying to think of where it is exactly, because there's people coming from University that then try to cut through to get to Kapahulu. And so they're trying to take that left turn on YLI. And a lot of people coming up from Market City do not stop at that light.
Okay. Thanks, Margaret. I saw your note.
Yeah.
Angie, is that where the auto parts store is, that corner?
It's Wayne's Carpeting.
It's carpeting in the auto parts store, that right between there. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And with that, Director Krucky, we appreciate all you do. And thank you for coming tonight and hearing our concerns and taking those back to the city.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Everybody have a safe holiday.
You too. Thank you. And I'll just time check. We're at 8:20. So we will move on to our elected officials. We have Tommy Waters' office, and I see Amanda was here. Yes. So Amanda, if you have any updates for us, we've got a couple things under your agenda item, but take those as you will.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Amanda Zapella here. I apologize. I lost my voice this past week, and it's just coming back. So it may be a little off. I'll keep it brief. I did put a bunch of information in the chat, but I wanted to just highlight a few things. I know you had a couple of things on the agenda for us. Bill 24, the PUCDP, has not been heard recently since the 10/22 P&E committee meeting. So no further updates on that one. It's still being worked on. Bill 53 did was adopted and was a return approved by the mayor. So that one, you know, it's up to you, but if you'd like to take that one off the agenda, that one has become ordinance at this point, ordinance 24-14.
Okay.
And then Bill 64, the land use ordinance was adopted yesterday. I did put that information into the chat. And then another one that's been pretty widely talked about is Bill 46, the empty homes tax. I think we've had 7 hearings on that one so far. We had a very long discussion at yesterday's full council meeting, and it ultimately was postponed by the chair to give us all time to further discuss and await the findings of the Ernest & Young study that's being conducted. They're the consultants for the budget, Department of Budget and Fiscal Services, studying potential impacts and the administration of such a tax. So a lot of folks in the hearing yesterday and prior have been strongly suggesting that the council defer or postpone the bill until the study actually has been completed to give us that very important information. And so the chair took those comments and feedback to heart and did just that. So we will be hearing that one again at some point. We don't know when just yet. The study is anticipated to come out next year. So we look forward to further discussion on that one. Another one is the resolution 24-176. I also put into the chat relating to Queen Theater. That one was adopted yesterday. You know, anytime we talk about potential acquisition of private property, potentially by way of eminent domain, you know, we're probably looking at least a year or more for that, but at least it's a step in the right direction. And in the meantime, the property owner, Adore You, did attend yesterday's council meeting. She has a plan for much needed work on the building. And so in the meantime, you know, she hopes to get a lot of that done. So I guess we'll kind of wait and see how that all pans out. Bill 59, a lot of people were interested relating to single-use plastics. Unfortunately, that one failed yesterday's vote with 5 noes and 4 ayes. So that one will not be moving forward. And then interestingly, a lot of folks are interested in the Bill 61 relating to wheelies. I think it's funny that we have to legislate, you know, like for popping wheelies. But it's a serious issue, very, very serious safety concern. And so it is being discussed. And that one was just first reading yesterday. It did pass out, was referred to the Committee on Transportation. So that's all I'll highlight. I did put some other information in the chat, as I mentioned. And if you have any questions I can try to answer, I'd be happy to.
Thank you. Amanda, I see Margaret, you had a hand up.
Amanda, what was the bill that they changed the minimum rental period? What bill was that? 59? You didn't talk about that, right? That was the one where they just introduced it like yesterday, first time, and tacked it onto the end of a bill. And they changed the minimum rental period from 30 days to 90 days. He finally got its way.
There was
What
a
bill
little,
was that?
Yeah, that was Bill 64. That's the land use ordinance. There
Yeah.
was, I
No
did,
hearing, no public hearing.
yeah, so I understand what you mean. We've had several public hearings on the bill, but as you folks know who's been following it, it's extremely long and complicated, and there's been so many amendments to it. And that one did, sort of sneak in.
Sneak
I
in is the
I
word.
have some information on it because there's more to it than that. It was um it was changed by the DPP in one of the original amendments, and then it was being changed back by the council. I'll have to look that up. I should have came prepared with that. I apologize. I can look it up as we continue the discussion, and I can put it in the chat, but I do have some information on what happened with that.
Also, on Bill 46, you actually kind of made it sound better than it was. There were so many people down there, local people, that were going to be adversely affected by the bill. And one of the things that in the informational meeting that we had, this was about the empty homes tax. That was Bill 46.
Yes.
Is that if you've got a homeowner's exemption on your property, if you've got a homeowner's exemption on your property, you better have, if you're married or got your kid on it, you better put their names on there, because the minute your tutu, if she's on it, moves into a assisted living, it goes right back into residential, and likely residential A, which is low at $1 million. But if you don't have both names on the deed with the city, it automatically goes back into, you lose your homeowner's exemption. And there's so many things wrong with that bill. 46, and it was 4-4. It was almost, and then Kelvin's swan song at the end of it was that he agreed to defer it. But it was 4-4, and it went to 7 o'clock, I think, last night. But it was really, I mean, there's so many things wrong with that bill. And it's not just for rich investors from the mainland. It's everybody that has property here. And
Yeah.
locals too. So you really got to pay attention the next time it comes up. Well, Tommy will be out, right? I think he was trying to look like Robin Hood, because they had a lot of students testifying, and they were totally misinformed, thinking they were going to get a free house or housing from be able to live in Kakaka or something. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox.
Thank you. No, I definitely understand where you're coming from. It was very controversial. I think, the intent is good there, but yeah, it was difficult. It was challenging. There was, many, I think we were up to like 17 exemptions on it, just trying to address the needs of our local folks and all the comments and feedback that came up. There was really,
Crazy.
yeah, what you mentioned about the home exemption is not just with Bill 46. That's actually just the way it is with the
Yeah,
home
I know.
exemption. If we always encourage all of the homeowners on title to apply for the exemption, even though you only get it once, in the event that something happens to the one that's registered, it would go to someone else rather than reverting to potentially Res A, like you mentioned, which we don't want for anyone who's, an owner occupant. So we always encourage that. Yeah, but thank you.
Thank
Points
you,
taken.
Amanda. And Miss
You are,
Matson,
Amanda, you're great.
she is great. And Miss Matson, you have a question?
Yes, Amanda, thank you so much for pulling through for us tonight. I know it's been exhausting with the council meeting and everything else and the holidays. So we really appreciate your effort here. With regard to not Bill 24, because the Primary Urban Center Development Plan has not come up yet. But we do understand through the community meeting held by Chair Kaina within our district is that our board's position to protect Kapahulu was taken seriously. And therefore, DPP has backed off of the proposal to take single-family lots owned by families for their children and convert them to multi-story, 5 and 6-story, multi-unit apartment developments. So we're very, at least that's our understanding. Anything could change in the meantime, so please keep us posted. We're very concerned about that as the board. We did pass a resolution on that. Bill 53, you mentioned, is an ordinance, and Bill 64 was adopted regarding the land use ordinance. I was wondering if your office, or at least your office soliciting DPP, could provide the key points of Bill 53 and 64 regarding the changes in the ordinances. So our board could review those changes clearly, because Bill 64 was so complicated, and the layers and layers of hearings and debates, nobody could keep up with that. So we need clarification, simplification of what actually was changed, perhaps in bullet points, so we can understand where the council was coming from on these two bills, 53 and 64.
Sure.
I think
Thank you.
that would really help us, especially our planning and zoning committee, moving forward. The
Sure.
the acquisition of the theater in Kaimaki, that's an interesting one, because it is a historic building. It has been neglected and is in deplorable condition and very unsightly. The present owners have not met their obligation. And so we would like to know the city's intentions for that historic site. We had recommended that the Diamond Head Theater, that wanted to build the huge parapet for their equipment, could be moved to the Kamaki Theater. So not to affect the significant views from Diamond Head. But they did modify their building, and so that's that. But I think one of the concerns might be moving forward is if DPP or some developer would come in and say they're going to raise the whole thing and make another high-rise development out of it, such as the one that's proposed to be planted across from the freeway entrance at the end of Wailai, or the Kobayashi 400-foot high-rise that's being planned, that has taken over a low-income housing, being planned for Kapahulu, near where the proposed LOI bridge will be accessing the rail line. So we'd just like to know what potential plans or consultants' recommendations are for that site. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, and we're getting short on time, so I appreciate that you got your voice back, so don't strain it anymore. But yeah, I had a similar just follow-up quick one, is that on Bill 20, and I don't like the land use ordinance going through yesterday with I saw floor draft 2. I mean, after all the time that's been spent on it, this thing needs to be hammered down, and changing that thing from 90 days to 30 days at the last minute. I don't know. That's That's not good. But if you can just check on Bill 24, and like Michelle's asked if our concerns had been taken into account, and if not, what do we still need to address? Because I think you're the one that could parse that out of anybody. But anyway, thank you so much, Amanda, for coming and all your diligent help for our neighborhood.
Thank you. I'll take all that back and I'll follow up on those things.
Okay, rest up.
30 to 90, not 90 to 30.
30 to 90, 90 to 30, whatever it was the last minute, and that's not good lawmaking. So, especially when they've been working on it for a year. Anyway, thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Holidays, everyone.
Councilmember Say's office. I know Councilmember Say is not here. This was his last month to join us, but I think he's outside of the country, but I'm not 100% sure of that. And see if there's anyone from Councilmember Say's office here. I don't see anyone. Let's move on then. I don't think anyone from Ed Case's office is here. If you are, then speak up. I see Ruben Sierra, office of, I see something, but I don't know where you're from, Ruben.
Been with Senator Chang's office.
Okay, we'll get to you in just a second then. Thank you. Probably no one from Brian Schott's office, Maisie Hirono, and I did see Ryan Aguilar posted something there, so I don't know if you're still here or not, Ryan. Ryan may have run away now. And if he did post something there. Okay, there you go, Ruben. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah. So my name is Ruben. I'm new to Senator Chang's staff. Thank you all for what you do for our community. I believe during the previous neighborhood meeting, the board had a question for Senator Chang related to climate change. And so I have a report back on that. And so Senator Chang, as you know, climate change is a top priority for the senator. As you also know, Hawaii is first in the nation to implement a 100% renewable energy goal with a target date of 2045. And so Senator Chang is supporting an effort to accelerate that timeline so that we can reduce carbon emissions on a faster timeline. In addition to that, Senator Chang, through his Aloha Homes proposal and throughout his record in the legislature, Senator Chang has proposed urban development focused on increasing neighborhood walkability and mixed-use projects that seek to increase public access to efficient and quality public transportation, all in an effort to reduce carbon emissions. And lastly, he has consistently supported increasing taxes on carbon emissions and has supported efforts to include real estate disclosures to include flood risks due to sea level rise. But overall, that's the general response. If you have any specific questions that you want me to take back to him, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Ruben. Are there any questions or comments for Senator Chang's representative? Yeah, if you can just take back to him that we are a constituent, important constituency of his, and it would be nice to have our representative show up at a neighborhood board meeting where, he can address our concerns. And, we will make every effort to be gentle, but this is the forum to meet with the people that he's representing. So I would urge him to come as well. We appreciate you coming tonight, and welcome to the job, and good luck at the next session. I know you're starting up very quickly here. So we appreciate you coming tonight, Ruben. And
great, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, I know that Mr. Ihara is not able to attend tonight. And let's move on to, I don't know if Carol Fukunaga is here tonight or not. You will know, the astute observer will notice that we have two extra people that we have not had on here before, which is a great mistake and omission of mine and all of our predecessors and everybody else on the board in the community who didn't, after we had the reapportionment, we had a few little remnant parcels that have gotten appended, not just remnant parcels, but big sections. And we have not had the representatives here or senators for those areas, including Ikaika Olds, Andrew Garrett, and Senator Fukunaga. So we have increased that. They are smaller parts of our area, but still, there's no one is less than. So we appreciate just getting that on the agenda now and rectifying that situation. I don't think Carol is here tonight, but I have let her know, and I think she said she wouldn't be able to come this month, but that she will try in the future. And I don't see Tina Grandinetti on here, but you might be hiding somewhere. Okay, and then Jackson Sayama, are you here tonight? Okay, he is holidaying as well. And Andrew Garrett, I believe he said he's not going to be able to come tonight, but will work towards the future. Just for reference, Andrew's area, Carol Fukunaga's area are back behind the storage unit and towards the university, and they're of varying configurations. Go on the neighborhood board website and see our exact boundaries. Go to the capital.hawaii.gov, I think it is, and you can find out the representatives and senators areas and see where these have been changed and overlap. Which brings us to our last representative, but not least, and Mr. Olds, Representative Olds, our newest representative. We appreciate you coming tonight, and please share with us what you would like.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm glad that somebody from the Capitol was able to show up. I apologize not being able to show up in person. The Kapahulu Mo'iliili Lions Club, we had our Mo'iliili holiday parade today. So we had just come back home, and my boys are not feeling well. So I apologize for not coming in person. Look forward to seeing you all one day. But just to fill you folks in, District 23, so Kapahulu, Mo'iliili, Makali, Alamala, and Pava'a. I'm a freshman legislator. I just hired my office manager 2 days ago, so we're starting to get the train rolling. I can announce that I am the vice chair of the House's Committee for Human Services and Homelessness. I'm also on the committees for health, education, and higher education, and the Keiki Caucus vice chair. So I don't have anything for you today, but if I will take any questions.
Okay, thank you. And your district, as far as our overlap, kind of snakes behind Safeway up. Is it Lukepani? Is that the borderline?
Yes. So I apologize if I say it incorrectly. I was raised calling it Wynham. So if it's Wynnum, I apologize to anybody who lives there. I know Tina lives right across the street from our borderline, but it follows Kapahulu and then goes all the way up to Market City Shopping Center, kind of follows Harding down through Kapiolani, down through King Street. And then Olokele is where it kind of comes down a little bit and reconnects to Date.
Okay.
So from Wynham to Olokele, then down to Date Street, and then everything west and north of Date Street is mine.
Okay. And that sounds like you got some important committees to work on and lots of challenges. Are you taking residents' concerns or if they have ideas for a bill at this time, or are you preferring to wait a little bit?
I mean, absolutely. So a lot of the feedback has been coming from our Makali Mo'iliili neighborhood board, but I would absolutely take. Sorry if I'm missing anybody here in the chat, but I'm glad to take anybody's consideration. Everybody has eyes and concerns, and while I do represent District 23, what we impact the whole state. So if there is a concern that even if you're not in my district, I would love to hear about it, particularly if it is something to do with one of my committees too.
Okay, well, very good. And thank you so much for coming and for speaking up last time so we could find out. Oh my goodness, yeah, you alerted us to our oversight. So most appreciated, and our sincere apologies for also our other representatives who we were missing. So just a note, trust but verify. And I just want to give a shout out also to Curtis Hayashi, our really excellent neighborhood assistant. He has put in these wonderful hyperlinks in our agenda so we can contact our representatives straight away and made the agenda very clear and easy to understand for us, even though it is at a longer than we have had in the past. That said,
Chair, I
so
have a question for the
I'm sorry.
representative.
Go
This is
ahead. I'm
Angie.
sorry. Go ahead.
Hi. I did have a question because normally, or not normally, but in the past, I remember Representative Albalati was chair of that committee, and then now she's going to be chair of public safety, and public safety used to be with intergovernmental affairs. So I had a question if you could define what public safety concerns would be for that committee. I wasn't sure if you knew. Because when we talk about homelessness, as you know, because I also know that you were a social worker, like it's hard to distinguish where public safety that line is.
I don't know if I have the authority to be able to differentiate where these lines are, but when I was meeting with the new Speaker of the House and when the new leadership was redefining what the committees were going to be. So previously, Representative Albilati used to be the chair of the Health and Homelessness committee. So they broke that committee apart. So now they put homelessness with human services, and then health is its own standalone committee. So that's where you might see a little bit of a change. I believe public safety still public safety, although the chairs may have changed. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what happened with at least the homeless and the health. It was split apart.
Yeah, no, because I was looking at it today and it looks like now the House mirrors the Senate better, which I think will be good. But then I was trying to figure out, yeah, just what public safety was, because before it was merged and now it's divided. And then I was just curious.
There was some shuffling around. So anyone who was astute to the old committees from earlier this year, they have changed. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie, and thanks for sorry, I forgot to ask her if we had questions for Representative Old. So thank you for coming tonight, and we hope your kids are feeling better. And
I hope so too.
Good start in the good luck with your new manager too, and have a successful session.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, let's see. Okay. We have I'm going to skip the board's chair report on that. Larry came and talked about the commission. I think we have a lot of work to do on that and some important work to make this board more so that we have just simple things that we need. If we need to run over 15 minutes, we need to reserve stuff for 4 hours. Curtis does a fantastic job with the meeting minutes, but and increasingly we can do a lot of this with AI. But they need to be written so that we don't have to go through and try and look for everything. Again, AI is going to change everything, probably. Yes. But that said, in the meantime, one little delete button and everything goes bye-bye. But if you could print out stuff, we can go through. Think about the bridge or the Army Corps plan. That's 7 neighborhoods that are affected. If you're following this, you got to go through 7 neighborhoods. You can't slog through 3 or 4 hours of meetings for every single one every month to try and find who said what, when, where, and why. So these are just some issues I think that will be coming up and addressed, as Larry Verre was saying. That on to committee reports. We have Arlene Velasco's not here. Parks and Rec, I don't think there was any report this month. Nor was there for traffic and public safety, although maybe we can perhaps, again, like the folks that have stayed around, we can look at the bus issue with Roger Morton and perhaps with our other neighborhood boards adjacent to us. Julia, did you have any sub-district report for St. Louis Heights?
Yes, St. Louis Heights Community Association will have their next meeting on Monday, January 13th at 7 p.m. at Hokalani School.
Okay, thank you. We do not have someone for Sub-District 2 for Kapahulu, so if someone's interested in that, please let me know. And for Sub-District 3, Linda Wong, I don't know if you're still here with us, Linda. Did you have anything if you are? I see your coconut tree and a beach. You may be at the beach by now. If you are, come back in. Are there any reports of board members attending other board or public meetings? I did attend the bridge meeting that was hosted by DTS. They had about 22 different versions of the bridge, none of which were no bridge. There was one that was a low bridge. And for those of you who've been on this board for a while or have followed, you'll remember that this board, I think unanimously asked DTS to look at that giant structure that they had and basically said no to that. They originally came to us with a low ridge bridge design that was also said to be for emergency vehicles. It's morphed since then. We're following this. And for people that want to follow this more closely, Laura Ruby has offered to, get you up to speed with that. But it's something that, there's some work yet to be done on this project. But I did want to say I did go to that, and we are. Oh my gosh, we're actually going to finish this maybe. No, I'm not going to hold out hope until we finish. I want to approve these meeting minutes if we can tonight, if we can. We have 4 different meeting minute notes here. As I said, they're not perfect, but I don't want to be perfect to be the enemy of good. Before we take them individually, and let us have enough time to at least take them if we can. Secretary Boydell, you had a comment, a question, concern?
Well, Chair, thank you. I just wanted to move to adopt all 4 sets of minutes as drafted.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Okay.
I think this board needs to be very cautious about adopting defective minutes in light of Hawaii Revised Statute Section 3.7. And if the board members are not familiar with this, I suggest they become familiar, because once the complete written minutes are available, and our minutes have never been complete, at least during the last few years, then are you signaling me, Mr. Chair?
No, I'm counting and see if we have a quorum.
Well, perhaps I should stop until we know.
No, we do. But yes, your points are
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
No, well, let me just finish up here. Section 3.7 provides that once there are complete written minutes, the recording and any summary would be secondary and not pertinent, but the recording may be kept for records and reference. The complete written minutes must be the record. We do not have complete written minutes. And the most basic transgression is that we do not have any reflection of the community's concerns, comments, recommendations, questions, or answers in our minutes, our written minutes. And that could be taken to the Ethics Commission. So I suggest that we hold off until the Neighborhood Commission makes a provision in the neighborhood plan regarding complete minutes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. And we don't have to pass actually meeting minutes. That's not required. I actually would like to request that what you just said be not summarized, but maybe verbatim, put into our meeting minutes for the next set of meeting minutes. And they are imperfect. We'll be the first to admit that. There is nothing that would stop us from going back in time also and changing them. Perhaps we will have an enterprising person who would like to do a chat GPT and go back and take all of those meeting minutes and see how they jive with what's been produced in the past. I think Curtis has been doing a really great job since we've had him, which has been since the summer-ish. We've had you, Curtis, I'd say since August or so. But that said, if there's no other comments, then we did have a motion
Yes,
to.
Mr. Chair, I do have a follow-up to your comments. The reason, and we do have very dedicated neighborhood assistants. They work very hard. They learn a lot, and we learn from them. However, they are taking orders from the executive secretary, who has tried to create his own arbitrary policies to impose on the neighborhood boards, and that includes restricting the meeting times, restricting the minutes, and also putting the neighborhood boards out into community projects and telling them to get out of the meeting room. That is not our Juliana. So just to reiterate, we have a lot of things to discuss with the neighborhood commission, the neighborhood plan committee, the survey committee. But that's a project, work in progress. And at this point, I do not want to see our board become even more vulnerable to, I wouldn't say violating the statute, but becoming subject to investigation and question about not following the statute. Thank you.
Your points are well taken, and I think also maybe out of this neighborhood commission meetings and neighborhood plans that we request that the city go back in time to the beginning of the current period in question, and maybe we revise the meeting minute notes as needed. But with that,
Chair Welch, I would
ahead.
like to respond to the aspersions cast upon the minutes just now.
Okay.
This board has been having recorded minutes with a written summary for years now. And I'm not an attorney, but as I believe that that is allowed by the Sunshine Law. That's an option, to have either written minutes or recorded minutes with a written summary. And then the written summary is required to have certain things like timestamps to the start of each agenda item in the recording, and you know, the recording of all the times of all the motions and votes and who voted. So this is what we've been doing for years, and I don't think it violates the Sunshine Law. In fact, I'm sure if it did violate the Sunshine Law, then certain people would have filed complaints already, and they would have been, you know, found to be correct. And I believe that, you know, because that hasn't happened, I believe that there is nothing wrong with the way that this board has been doing the minutes all
Okay,
along.
well, and thank you for that opinion.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Apparently, the board member was not paying much attention to the differences in the statutory requirements. Hawaii Revised Statute Section 9, Chapter 92-9 does provide for complete written minutes with a reflection of all the views of the participants. And B of 92-9 provides for recordings of the meetings and a summary of the recording, as the board member did reflect. However, the precedent over all of this is Chapter 92-9, Section 3.7, which, again, I repeat, provides that once the complete written minutes under A of 92-9 are completed and available and posted, then the recording and the summary of the recording becomes secondary, and the complete written minutes take precedence. The board is allowed to keep the recording for reference purposes, which is very valuable when you're interested in a specific subject or how the board voted and the reasons for the board's vote in the past.
I'm gonna have to cut you off there, Michelle, because even though my hopes we're to pass these. It's not a sin if we don't. I would recommend that all the board members take into account what has been said tonight about the meeting minutes. I'm inclined to agree completely with Michelle, but I also understand Mr. Boydell's position. But just because we've been doing it for years does not mean that it's been right. And as we know, people can do crimes for years and not have anything happen. But in this case, I've been the one to hold up the meeting minutes for a long time too. So for right now, nothing's going to happen. We're going to wait until next month. We are meeting at Alawai Golf Course again, folks. So I hope I'll see you all there. I hope you all have a safe, happy, wonderful holiday season. You are all terrific. You're all great members of the community standing up for a better community. You're walking the walk and you're a role model to everybody around you. And I really respect all of you. So thank you so much. Thank you for closing out this year with aloha, and we're going to open up the next year with aloha. So safe holidays, everybody. And this meeting is adjourned.
Happy